So great. Anyway. I'm sorry. I brutally apologize for that. I'm sorry. Escalator, Russia. We're going down. We're going down. And we get to the bottom, finally. And after all that talk, we reached, that's how long it took to get down there. It took about 15 minutes. And anyway, we get down there to the bottom, to this train platform, and I see my first inside of a Russian train station. And it is as beautiful as Nick said it would be. High ceilings, there's a chandelier, there's a sculpture, and each different platform has a different theme. And there's paintings and stained glass and all this magnificent stuff. No graffiti on the walls and no litter. And I asked Nick, I go, how come there's no litter, no vandalism? He says, these people have nothing. This is their subway. They take very good care of it. The unwritten law in Moscow is you don't fuck with the subway. And I thought that was so beautiful, because where I come from, everyone has 9 of everything they need 1 of, and they just abuse everything. They take up too much room, they graffiti everything, they push over garbage cans, and they turn where they live into a cesspool because they have too much. And the people in Russia have nothing, and they take good care of their nothing. And it's really... that's rocking, you know, it's beautiful. So anyway, I'm standing there shoulder to shoulder with all these Russian folks. It's like everyone in Moscow was on this platform. And then the train pulls up and the door opens right in front of me. And the other population that wasn't on the platform, the rest of Moscow is on this train. And this seems to be the hip station to get out at. And so everyone on the train is just pouring out and they're coming right at me. Instinctively, I move to the side to let them go by. So they're like, we are the Russian man swarm, they're going by. Something pushes me into the oncoming Russian man swarm. Have you ever seen when penguins, a whole herd of penguins, come up to the edge of the glacier and they're all looking over? Hey, Reggie, yeah, you see any killer whales out there? No, I think it's cool. And like one guy behind him, like, well, let's see how cool it really is. Boom! And they just like kick one out. Have you ever seen that? They do that, and they're like 80 of them, like. And also was like, whoop! He's like, and he goes out like feet for like, whoa! Because one guy's like. Never liked you. Boom! I never liked you, Reggie. And there's like, well, we'll go swimming tomorrow. Thanks, Reggie. Bye. He's like, he's going down to the bottom. So anyway, something has kicked me out, boom, into the oncoming Russian man swarm. And I'm taking hits. I'm taking Russian hits on either side, like wham, 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 wham. I'm pardon me. Sorry. I'm profusely apologizing. And I get out of the way again. Again, something kicks me back into the Russian man swarm. I try and get back and spin around. Something spins me back around, like full face into them. I look behind me. There's a 111-year-old Russian woman. She's about this high, this wide, bearded, mustachioed, with this incredible hip and quad strength. If she was a wrestler, she'd be all city. She'd be Olympian. Once she got down in position, you'd never get her off her feet. She's got at least a 1,000 kilo squat. She is burly. She has calves like cannonballs, and she has forearms like baseball bats, and she's clutching a bag of onions and garlic and muttering viciously at her feet some kind of Ukrainian, whatever. She's like, bam! And she's like working my lower back, using me as a driving wedge to get her on the train. And she's like, boom! Bam! 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 And she's like, oh, ow, ow, ow! And I'm sorry. It's a little psycho little woman. Boom, boom, boom. And so this little troll gremlin woman is driving me forward. I look behind her. There's 3 more little bearded, mustachioed women clutching garlic and onion bags, going, wham! And they're hitting me up high. So she's got me down low, they're hitting me up high, and they basically steer me onto the train through the outcoming people. They end around me once we get on the train, and they find the 4 available open seats, sit down, grab their garlic and onions, stare at their feet, and go, I'm like, what? Oh, fuck. And I rode on 4 trains that day, and got pummeled by 2 little posses of old women. And my theory is that they live underground in Moscow and they survive on onions and garlic, and it makes them really mean. And they just kind of ride around just pummeling people, just being aggro, like, fuck you, wham, 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 oh, and I'm like, oh, and I get to the show that night, I was like, oh, okay, I got to ask you people, what's up with the escalators that go straight down and I nearly died? And like, Oh, yeah, you have to be careful. They're a bitch. You'll fucking die. I'm like, okay, thank you for that. What's up with the little Russian bearded, mustachioed women clutching the onion and garlic who use their forearms like Louisville sluggers and drove me onto the train with utter brutality and malice? They're like, and they look at me and their eyes go wide. They're like, yes. Yes. And they all start looking at each other. Have you? Boom. Oh, yeah, yes. And I was like, yes, you understand. We've all been beaten up by little old women in the subway system. The little old women who live underground beating the hell out of people as they get on trains. And we had this beautiful Russian epiphany where we all were one, in Moscow, all with sore backs from little old women who have more hip and quad strength than any varsity fullback will ever have. And so the next day, my time in Moscow was over. And I left, and I went for the last show of my tour, and I went to Tel Aviv, Israel. And that was one I came up with. I said, okay, you got me Russia, now you get me to Israel. He goes, you can't do a talking show in Israel. I go, yeah, book it and watch me do it. He goes, what do you want to go to Israel for? Because I said, it's got to be cool. I mean, I got a bunch of letters from Tel Aviv going, you idiot, get your ass over here, we rock. So I want to go, man. I want to go because I haven't been there before. Every country I haven't been to mocks me from the map when I look at it. It looks up, hello, Henry, I am India. What? How come you have not come to visit me, pussy boy? What's the matter? Oh, I have to stay in Ohio. Pussy boy. Like, ooh, I'll get there, So I said, bring on Israel, man. I want to go. And so I land in Tel Aviv the next day, and it's utterly beautiful. You leave frozen Moscow, or little Ukrainian women are trying to sell you half a fish and a cigarette in a handkerchief. Please to buy for me dying. You're like, oh, shit, I'm sorry, Granny. Nice beard. And then you land in Tel Aviv, and it's like, balmy breeze, palm trees, the Mediterranean, have some hummus and falafel. Hey, woo! And I had 48 hours before my show. So I hired a tour guide with a car to take me all around Israel and teach me. And he's one of the most extraordinary men I have ever met in my life. His name is Michael. He's 37. He knows English, Spanish, German, French, Hebrew. In his off time, he's teaching himself Japanese. He's an ex-soldier, sharpshooter, special forces guy, bodyguard for high-ranking politicians, has been in several intense conflicts with the Palestinians, has killed, has had his friends killed, has a wife and kid. He's studying religious theology. And so I said, okay, so what do you think of the Palestinians? Seeing if I could get some hair on the back of his neck to stand up. He said, I think they're good people, and I want to see us have peace with them in my lifetime. Whoa. And you speak 5.5 different languages, and you could kill me 80 ways with the cap of a Bic pen. Yeah. And you've been in war, lost friends, and you've killed people. Yeah. And you must think I'm just some rock and roll jack-off. Mm-hmm. Because very rarely do you meet a balanced man. You might meet this soft-handed pseudo-intellectual who's read Proust and Shakespeare and can quote from either writer, and he holds his knowledge over you like he has some kind of invisible power over you and you are some kind of lowly creature because you haven't sat around and read enough books. And they sit in coffee places and they go, well, one time Seneca once said, blah, 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 blah. And that's all cool until you get in a bad, evil bar in Scotland and you have to punch your way out of it. That's when that guy's like, well, Petronius went, oh, he's dead. Okay? And so that guy is really no help to you when the shit comes down. Or on the other end of the spectrum, you encounter the 4-inch thick cranium guy who punches everybody out, including his girlfriend, and he's just a miserable drip, and he's a future Marine or cop or politician, and he's just like this bitter, huge dick, and everyone is afraid of him. And so very rarely do you meet the balanced man who loves his child and his wife, is articulate, sensitive, can kill you 80 ways with a Bic pen, and has been there and done that and wants peace and does not brag about his time in the army. I was so amazed by this guy. I'm like, I suck, huh? Yes, probably. Because, a lot of us are under the weird misconception that we're really cool. Wrong. This guy was pretty cool, though. So anyway, we took off from Tel Aviv, and I'm going, wow, man, this is really cool. I have the mouth that never closes. And he goes, Henry, for the next 2 days, I want you to be very quiet. and I'm going to tell you everything I can in 2 days about Israel. And if you had a week, it still wouldn't be enough. So 2 days, I'm basically going to give you the tip of the iceberg. I said, I have to be quiet. He goes, I want you to shut your mouth. I'm like, all right, okay. I can kill you 80 ways. Don't make me start counting down. Okay. And so he's telling me all about Israel, and it is this utterly fascinating country. It's like this country that's been nothing but a tug of war for the entire time of the country. No, it's mine. No, it's mine. No, it's mine. And everyone's like, yanking on it, and it's war. It's conflict. The whole country is conflict. And the people are very vibrant because they've all held rifles and marched up and down the streets in their time. Anyway, we get up to Mount Olive, and we're looking down on Jerusalem. And he goes, you see that area over there? I go, yeah. He goes, that's the last place Jesus Christ was seen walking. What do you think of that? And I was like, fuck. Smoke started coming out of my ears. Because where I come from, if something is 40 years old, it's ancient. Like, this building's been here for 60 years. Get out of town. No, really, 60 years it's been here. Like, the same building, right? Yeah. Are you sure? And then when he says, old JC was seen walking down there, everything in me went. I was like, I was flabbergasted, and I didn't know. I was like, whoa, and I started, of course, jumping up and going, whoa, that is so intense, whoa! And there's like this tour group right next to me, and they have the man with a megaphone, and we're now standing on Mount Olive, and then they see the weird, wacky guy with the fading tattoos jumping up and down, going, wow, that's so intense. They all stopped. I became the thing on the tour, and over here is a strange rock and roll guy jumping up and down with a tour guide looking at the ground so no one recognizes him. And so Michael said, get back in the car, we're out of here. And he now sees the maniac he's going to spend 48 hours with. And so we go down to the Wailing Wall, and we checked out the Wailing Wall, and men and women are praying and doing their thing. And apparently, you can write out a note on a piece of paper and roll it up and stick it in a crack in the Wailing Wall. And the big guy will read your request and maybe help you out so you can get like a new carburetor or Cameron Diaz in a cage delivered to your house. Whatever it is that you want. I don't know what you want, but whatever it is, you can ask for it, and the big guy might give a listen and check it out. And so we checked out the Wailing Wall, and that was very cool. And then we walked back up the way and busted a right. We went into Jerusalem. Don't say busted a right when you're walking to Jerusalem. So anyway, we went into Jerusalem, and it's amazing. Many of you I know have been there, and it's stunning. You're like, it shuts your mouth, man. And so we went to the beginning of the Via Dolorosa, where the 14 Stations of the Cross. And he goes, Henry, do you know about the Stations of the Cross? I'm like, no. He goes, do you know anything about religion at all? If you masturbate too much, you go to hell? And he went, 2 days, right? Okay. So he walks me through the 14 Stations of the Cross, and I never knew much about Jesus Christ. I always thought he was pretty cool. I mean, you look at him in the paintings, and he looks like a pretty hip and understanding guy. And he's up, some of those shots of him up on the cross, that must have been really shitty. I mean, like, ow, 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 that must have hurt. But he's just going like, man, ow, it's cool. I'm taking the pain so you can learn. That's pretty righteous. And so I have my own version of all of that stuff. First off, I prefer to call him by a name of his I saw in the Book of American Slang. It's kind of a small dictionary, and I went right to the Jesus Christ part, and one of his many nicknames is Jerusalem Slim. How badass! What's up, Jerusalem Slim? Yeah, baby, I gotta get crucified. And so, in my version of it, his name is Jerusalem Slim, and he talked like Jimi Hendrix. Because to me, Jimi Hendrix was like the embodiment of the Almighty on earth. Him and John Coltrane, to me, were like the direct line to a higher power. And so I reckon it goes like this. Station 1 is persecution. Basically, his evil oppressor said, Jerusalem Slim, you're moving way too fast for prime time. You're too cool, and you're getting too many people together, and you're making him think different. You're rousing too much rabble, so we're going to crucify you. And if you look at the paintings of old Jerusalem Slim, you could tell he had that kind of vegan body. He really couldn't take an ass whooping, and he really couldn't administrate an ass whooping either. So he couldn't go like, you're going to crucify me? Fuck you, bitch. Come come on. He didn't have any of that in him. He wasn't from Brooklyn or anything. And so he kind of went, all right, baby, yeah, okay, you can crucify me, but obviously he saw a better, he saw a bigger picture. And so these guys think they're getting away with something, but all they were really doing was opening up the world for a huge, huge lesson. And so, all right, baby, yeah, crucify me, that's cool, yeah. And so they give him this huge cross to drag up the old Via Dolorosa. And, JC doesn't really have a whole lot of muscle tissue, so they slammed this big, huge, like 500-pound cross on his shoulder and said, all right, Jerusalem Slim, get up the old Via Dolorosa. All right, baby, well, I'll be seeing you later. You'll know what that means later on. And he's like, oh, man, baby, this cross is too heavy to bear. Wham! It forces him to the ground, and his friend comes out of nowhere. Oh, Jerusalem Slim, I'll help you. And I'm wondering what Jerusalem Slim was thinking at that point. Oh, you've got the Uzis, and we're going to spray ourselves out of here? Or you've got the getaway car or the helicopter or the rope ladder? Yeah, baby, let's get out of here. No, all the guy did was pick up the cross. All right, Jerusalem. Okay, stand up. Okay, now, keep your back straight. No, straighten the back. Okay, now, spread the legs a little. Now, feel the cross in your hips, okay? Can you dig that? Okay, now get your back supporting it, and your legs won't have to do so much work, okay? Keep the back straight. All right, now lean into it and lean forward. All right, are you good? Okay, I'm taking my hands off the crucifix. All right, Slim, have a good crucifixion. We'll see you up the road. Like, yeah, baby, okay. I guess I'll be seeing you later, baby. Yeah, okay. And he's going up the road, and his mom stops him, and she goes, oh, Slim, that thing at the wedding when the liquor store closed and you got the water to turn into wine? You're amazing, but I know you got to go. You got a crucifixion to get to, so I don't want to keep you. Thanks, Mama. Yeah, baby. Yeah. And he makes it right. And this hot-looking chick comes out of nowhere. Her name is Veronica, but she's not a saint yet. She's just a hot-looking chick with a towel. And she sees JC, Jerusalem Slim, walking by, huffing and puffing in that cold December weather. It's not really Christmas yet because they hadn't cooked that one up yet. But he's moving up the trail. He's like, oh, baby, this cross is so heavy, but, it's cool. I got my guitar later on. And he's going up there, and she's like, oh, Jerusalem Slim, you're hot. You're sweating. Let me towel you down. He's like, oh, yeah, thank you, baby. Yeah. Hey, you want to come in my room and put that cross down and check me out? Well, I'd like to, baby. I'm a ladies' man. I'm a blues man, but I got to get up the road to a crucifixion, So I'll see you on the next time, baby. I'm a voodoo child, like, bye, Slim. Yeah, baby, He goes up the way, and he encounters other people, and a whole bunch of crying women come out. Oh, Jerusalem Slim, it's so sad, you're dying. Oh. But he's a badass. He's like Jimi Hendrix mixed with Bootsy Collins mixed with Cool Hand Luke. He's just like, yeah, baby, cry for your people, cry for your culture, but don't cry for me because I'm coming back. Don't tell anybody. And he gets all the way up the road, and the cross falls a few more times. But now the CNN cameras are going, and they got to get him up there for the 8 o'clock. And so they go, come on, get your back into it, Jerusalem Slim. Get up the hill. Like, all right, baby, you don't need to hit me in my ass, And a bunch of cowards nailed him to a cross and stood him up, and he died in a horrible and excruciating death with a bunch of cowards going, ha, 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 ha. And they pulled him down off the cross, and they wrapped him up in a sheet like a burrito, and they stuffed him in a cave, and they put a huge rock in the way of the cave, and they went, ha, 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 ha. No more rabble-rousing for you, Slim. And they went back to the Bacchanalian orgy and had their way with a bunch of 13-year-olds. And they came back up to the cave a few days later to inspect their handiwork, and they found the stone was turned aside, and Jerusalem Slim had gone. Now, that lesson to me just says, don't let anything ever get in your way. Not your lowered expectations, not your mediocrity, not the damage your parents have beaten into your head. You suck, you're never going to go anywhere. Just, no. If Jesus Christ came back from death, that's a bitch. Let's see you do that. I mean, you can't even come back from a bad night of drinking and go to work on time. He came back from death. Whoa. And he went rock schmuck, and he moved this huge boulder out of the way, because nothing gets in my way, baby, And like I was dead. I didn't like it, so I said, fuck you, death. And he went, whoa, and he came out and like rock, whap, and he like took the rock out, went into town, laid some wisdom on some people, and ascended. And I've never read the Bible. I'm going to get to it, but I haven't read it yet. And it says that he took off. And I don't see anything about any one-liners. No one said anything to me, but someone had to have seen him ascending. They must have thought they were on mushrooms, like, whoa, what the fuck? Are you tripping like what? Slim, man, man, where you going? Yeah, baby, I'm ascending, but you'll see me the second time around. Until then, y'all be cool. Oh, yeah, baby, next time you see me coming, you better run, because you know something's going to be up, motherfucker. I'll see you around. And he's gone. And I loved this story. All of a sudden, JC became a hero to me. I went, whoa. JC is the man. And Michael said, well, Henry, a lot of people think so. And I went, he's cool, man. He's cool like Lenny Bruce. He's just like Lenny Bruce. And Michael went, no. No, not like Lenny Bruce. And oh, yeah, sure he is. He's a man of peace, trying to turn people on, and a bunch of negative, closed-minded, tyrannical people shut him down. And he went, uh-huh. Not like Lenny Bruce. Henry, do not ever say that in mixed company. You'll never be asked back to the party again. And I thought I was right. And anyway, we left Jerusalem, and it was utterly magnificent. And then we got back in the car, and we drove to the Dead Sea, and we went up the Dead Sea Highway, and spent a night in a kibbutz, the kibbutz Eilat Hashala Halalala. I can't say it, but it was cool. And then the next day, we went down to the Sea of Galilee and checked that out, and it looks like heaven dropped on earth. It's utterly magnificent. And we went by the Golan Heights, and we went to Nazareth. And I always thought Nazareth was a band. I never knew it was also a city. Yeah. And so I learned a little something there. And so I went from there down to Tel Aviv, did the show, and the crowd was live at 5. They're just like live kicking like Chicago, and they were great. And so the next day, I have no more shows, and I'm the lonely guy with no life, with my choice of going back home to my little pad in L.A., which has nothing for me except piles of foreign coins and receipts from different rooms I've rented all over the world. I have no plants, no animals, no woman, no children. Nothing waits for me to come home. I don't have a dog named Old Paint who chews holes in his leg waiting. God, Hank, Old Paint's been chewing himself raw since you left. I don't have anything like that. I unplug the phone, so when I come back, I plug it back in. It says 00, because I'm the man who lives alone. I am the enigma who crosses borders silently and alone, and no one knows me. All right. Jim Morrison would have totally dug me. I mean, before he got fat and everything. All right. Anyway, I got nowhere else to go, and Christmas doesn't mean anything to me because I don't get presents, I don't give presents, because like that idea of like, oh, it's December 25th, it's time for me to be nice to you. Why don't you surprise me and give me a gift on July 15th for the hell of it? Spontaneity. Let's fuck in a phone booth. Hey, why not? And so I don't go in for the ritualized, this day to be nice, this day to be a prick, and this day to put your head down and go, And so I said, holiday, schmoliday, my whole life's a holiday. And so I had a bunch of frequent flyer miles and nowhere to go, so I went to Cairo right after Israel, and I lived in Egypt for a week. And by day, I would hike through ruins, and by night, I lived on a boat on the Nile. And tourism is down in Egypt because everyone's afraid of people going, aye, and hacking them to bits with knives. And that's where your blind American plot loss from too many years of violence, wars, and silly movies comes in very handy. Because if you're American, you have no fear of anyone going, aye, because you've seen too many Jean-Claude Van Damme, he's Belgian, or Bruce Willis and Steven Seagal movies where you think of some guy coming at you with a knife going, aye, you'll go, come on, bitch, bring it on. When in reality, if a guy comes running at you with a knife, 99% of people go, oh my God, don't kill me! Fucking don't kill me! That would be me. And so anyway, I went anyhow because I've always wanted to see the Sphinx and the Great Giza pyramids and the Nile since I was that high. So I went and I got my kicks on Route 66, man. The Great Giza Pyramid is a big fucker. It is huge, and you can't believe people built that by hand. And it made me wonder what it was like to be a farmer in Giza at that time. You're hoeing away next to the Nile. The Nile's been very good to you that year, kicked a lot of nutrients over the Nile edge into your farmland, and you're sprouting all kinds of crops and whatever it is, figs or what have you, and you're writing your checklist of all the shit you're going to buy on your piece of papyrus, and you're hoeing away, and all of a sudden a guy comes over, hey, what? I'm hoeing, man. I'm working my land. The pharaoh, the big guy, wants a pyramid built in his honor. Okay, well, go build him a pyramid. No, like a real big one. Well, how big are we talking about? 550 million tons of sandstone with blocks that fit so perfectly 2,500 years later, people won't be able to get a knife blade in between them. He's kidding, right? No. He's been hitting the fig wine, right? No, he's been screwing too many concubines. He's having visions of grandeur. No, he really wants it, and he wants it now. And like 2 days later, these guys are like, fucking hell, carrying 2.5-ton blocks at a rate of 4 minutes per block. And they somehow built this thing. And I don't know, years later, like, okay, Pharaoh, I love you. You're the man, but my back is killing me. Don't call me anymore. You like the pyramids? Pretty nice, huh? Oh, where'd I drop my hoe? Oh, there we go. Hey, you! What? I want one for my kid and my wife, too. And if you look around the corner of the Great Giza Pyramid, there's 2 more of almost equal size. You're like, oh, get the fuck out of here. And if you look off into the distance, there's a whole bunch of them. And then you go down the road, and there's the Sphinx standing there like, hello. And I asked the tour guide, I go, what happened to the Sphinx's nose? And she said, Napoleon, his thugs blew it off with a cannon. So you're standing there like, whoa, I'm standing where Napoleon stood, where Patton stood, where Alexander stood, and all this stuff happened, and now I am part of that timeline, and it was mighty. And by day, I hiked through Edfu and Karnak and the Valley of the Kings and Queens, and it's utterly magnificent. And by night, I'm alone on this boat. There's hardly anybody on the boat, and by 10 p.m., they've all done the disco thing, drank, and they're keeled over in their bunks. I'm up at the top of the boat with Egyptian moon and stars and offshore breeze at the edge of this boat, like dun, 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 Egyptian adventure is mine. And it was so cool. And there's like men building fires on the side of the Nile. I'm like, hello, Egyptian man. Hello, tour boy. Right on. Dun, 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 dun. It was incredible. And I came home from this trip with this awe of religion. Because you see, religion really intense. Like, in Israel, to be Hebrew, to be Jewish, is not like this casual encounter. It is your life. It's full on. You're part soldier, part family man, and it's full on. You go to Egypt, there's like 90% Muslim. You're hearing the morning prayer every morning, men reading from the Quran through PA systems all over the country. And every 20 minutes, whoop, prayer time, wham, and everyone's getting down for Allah. And I respect it, and it's awesome, and it's very beautiful. And I got back to America thinking how America has really trashed, the West has kind of really trashed religion. Like Christianity is basically, you just see the bright spots on Christianity, like the psycho who bombs the abortion clinic, or like the weirdos who all run into football stadiums under the guise of the Promise Keepers, fat Christian men hugging each other, we should be better to our wives, and they go back home and keep beating the shit out of them. And, and always the televangelist guys caught with 3 boy hookers and 80 million in the cash, in their trunk, waiting to go to Acapulco or something. So a lot of these people get bad raps, but like I'm sure the real pure part of it is really righteous. And Catholicism has always terrified me because of the rule book. To be a good Catholic, I couldn't do it if I'm reading the rules right, and I'm probably reading them wrong. But they're very stringent, and they seem to be anti-human in a way. And if you're Catholic, I'm not trying to put you down. I just, I couldn't hang. I don't have the strength you do to be a real rockin' samurai Catholic. And if I tried to be, I'd have to get like a mentor, like a teacher dude to walk me through it. And, I'd see women and go, what are you doing? Lusting. Cut that out. Why? No lusting. Are you sure? Put your hand down. None of that. Okay. Okay, that's cool. I want to be a good Catholic. Ooh, no. Okay. So I can't. No. No. Not even if she is mutual. No. Okay. What happens if I do? Hell. Oh shit. Okay. Fine. What are you doing over there? Staying sane? No. Are you sure? I'm not allowed to go. So I can't relieve myself. No, that's evil. No, it's pretty fucking good. Bad, put that down. Down. Okay, so no. Okay, fine. If I can't grab at it or grab myself, I'll just think about it. What are you doing over there? Thinking. What are you thinking? Stuff. You're thinking impure thoughts. No, they're very pure. They're crystalline. They're magnificent. Ass. Stop it! Those are impure thoughts. No, and no, and no. So what do I get to do? Oh, I don't know. Become an accountant. Okay, So I don't know how you would hang in there for that. I'm too mere mortal, I'm too weak. I'm weak and human. And for those of you who can live that way, wow. I don't want to get trapped in an elevator with you, man. You're scary. You are scary. So anyway, it's interesting. It's a very interesting irony that the first boy-girl experience I ever had was because of Catholicism. And I was born in 1961, so puberty hit me around the mid-'70s. And you know how you guys were with puberty, right? You didn't come into puberty. That's a misnomer. Oh, he's coming into puberty. No, puberty descends upon you like a Buick that is also a plague. It hits you like a punch in the mouth and then infests you like termites or head lice. And you're like, I see girls walking by. Hello, Patty. Hello, Judy. And you are what's called a human being. And you're like, there's a girl, and there's my bike, and it's all the same. And then puberty lands upon you like locusts, and you're like, bike, fuck the bike. And the girl's like, get away from me, you dork. You're like, oh, zit, voice, hormones, bing, bing. And you're like, it's called puberty, and that's why you see boys all over the world walking streets like, making asses out of themselves because their hormones are going shaking and rattling and rolling. And so puberty hit me like a jackass kicking me in the mouth. I was like, ah! And I see those Catholic girls' schools walking to school like the dresses, and you're like, oh, And so I would try and meet girls by going to the very corny high school dances at my all-boys military prep school out in the suburbs where I lived. And it was always the same horrible scene. You're in the bad gymnasium that you usually get punched out in during the week, and now you're there on the weekend, and all the boys are lined up against this wall. The 8 desperate girls are lined up against this wall. They had to be dragged. They had to be bribed to come to our school. They're paid $50 each to stand there and look at a bunch of dorky guys. And a bad, kind of 70s top 40 cover band would play on a small stage at the end of the gymnasium. And if you ever have seen the Foghat live album, maybe some of you wouldn't like a record like that. I have it, the remastered version. But because that was music from my day. That's back in the days when you go into a record store and buy a Boston album with no sense of irony or shame whatsoever. You'd walk in, I want the Boston album. The guy would be back there, that huge Farrah Fawcett hairdo. You sure do, dude. Here, $4.99. All right. And within 20 minutes, you're playing More Than a Feeling air guitar in the bathroom mirror. And so anyway, that's what our dance is. And so you're all against the wall staring at the opposing team. All these girls, and you're like ripping on them. Look at those dogs over there. I know, they're dogs. Why are you here if they're a bunch of dogs? I'm here to look at all these losers. They're a bunch of losers. And we're all just putting each other down and putting the girls down, because we're totally terrified of them. And the band looks like Foghat, circa 75. Huge hair, big walrus mustache, either a chain of puka beads around the neck or a medallion that is bouncing off the most intense matte man hair on a chest you have ever seen. Open polyester disco shirt revealing like AstroTurf, but it's man hair with a medallion going bing, bing, bouncing off like it's a Brillo pad. And the shirt is open in a wide V to show like this massive Bon Jovi winger, New Jersey hair chest growth going down into a decreasing V into the belt line of these fake silk disco pants that go skin tight to the knee, where they explode outward in an elephant bell, barely concealing Bay City Roller stack heels. And there's never a frontman to these bands. There's always the guitar player who sang, and he has his guitar up here, and they'd be playing the top 40 pop, rock, soul, R&B melange of the day. So they go from Steve Miller into Earth, Wind & Fire, into Stevie Wonder, into Aerosmith, into Ted Nugent, into Blues Brothers. It was just horrible. And so they're like, walk this way into Cat Scratch Fever. Do-do-do. Cat Scratch Fever. It's just brutal. And you're like, and he's singing along, looking at the girls, not making any attempt to dance, because you have two rough choices of the outcome if you make that journey across the dance floor. First off, you're looking at the girl. You go across the dance floor, trying to keep your voice around your belt line, like, do you want to dance? You're rehearsing. Do you want to dance? You want to dance? You want to dance? The dance floor has widened out to a 3-mile gulch. And you're like, now you're trapped. And like, too far to go back? Because everyone will see, what'd you do? You wimped out, pussy. So you can't turn back. So you're like, do you want to dance? You want to dance? Involuntarily, the head starts going. As you make that long journey, a solo, lonely man walking across to the opposing team, you want to dance? You want to dance? And you feel this tingling between your eyes, right about here where the third eye would go. That's the zit that's been cooking underneath your skin for the last 3 days and is now going like, oh, now is the time for me to emerge. And your instinct is to go up to examine. No, don't touch it. Don't touch it. You want to dance? You want to dance? You want to dance? And so you approach the opposite side and you go up to any girl. And one of two horrible eventualities will come through. If you say, want to dance? It's just all over her. And she's like, and she can say one of two things. She can say, no, which will come through the PA magically. The band will stop playing. A spotlight will go on you. And everyone will start laughing at you at half speed. She said no, as it reverberates around the gymnasium, and you're like wiping the goo from your head, from the sebatic cyst that exploded upon this poor frail thing, and you walk back hearing and you try and resume your piece of wall back with your subterranean amphibian peers, and they all go, no, go back, you can't be with us anymore. Like, no. Okay, so that's one thing that could happen. The other thing that happens, which is potentially worse, what if she says, okay, which means you now have to go out to the center line of the basketball court and dance with your white boy, have no rhythm ass, and you've never done it before. So you're going to be out there in front of everyone for their amusement with some girl you don't even know, like, okay? So, the smart man does nothing. He just waits for 2 hours in every 4 songs. The guy would go, come on, kids, let's have fun. I want all the boys to walk across the room right now and ask a girl to dance. And we're all in uniforms Monday through Friday taking orders from guys, ex-Korea, ex-Vietnam, ex-World War II, Paris Island, Camp Lejeune. And so when someone gives us an order, you see half the guys, like, involuntarily make a, like, oh, he's a guy in a cover band. I don't have to do what he says. They go back to the wall. And so you just, like, wait, you know, like, oh, what a bunch of dogs, and having the time of your life. And then you always knew it was at the end of the dance when the singer guy would go, all right, kids, here's a song that I hope you all like. And then the guy closes his eyes, gets his mustache out of his mouth, arranges his hair, gets his puka beads together, and you can tell he now sees rock stardom in his grasp. And he went into the same song. It was the last song ever played at every dance I ever went to from 75 to 79. There's a lady who's sure all that good turns is gold. Okay, now, there's a thing that cover band guys do when they're trying to sing with a lot of soul. The way they have a lot of soul is they just stop pronouncing the second syllable and last syllable of every word in the song, which means I am so deep into this, I don't even know where I am. And I think the main inspiration for that is an Al Green record, where Al Green gets so deep into being Al Green, which is a great place to be. He doesn't even know where he is. You've heard him like, and I want to. His balls are up in his body. His eyes are rolled up in his head. He is gone because he's Al Green. He's the man. And you've heard him. James Brown does it too. Gone. Okay? So the cover band guy tries to do that too. And he has the corresponding facial gestures that go with it. There's a lady who's sure all that good turns is gold. And she buy you stairway here. Okay. And then he gets on the guitar. Bang, down, down. It's like, and there's the corresponding, every lick has the facial thing, and a lot of it resembles a man 30 seconds before orgasm. First, you've noticed, you women have like looked up and seen this hilarious facial circus going on, running the gamut of emotions, if you will. And first there's the look of hope. Reverent and very optimistic, but hopeful with a note of there could be failure. So it's like, okay, to the intense look of concentration. So we go from hopeful to concentrating, like, so hopeful to concentrating to, ooh, someone has just ripped my spine out of my back. And that's when, touchdown. So it's like, and they're dead and useless. And that's when the woman is pinned to the mattress by this 180-pound, useless thing in his post-coital coma state. And 1, 2, boom, and the beached whale goes to sleep. And so anyway, and women, that's when you drive the stake in. Die. Anyway, you have 30 seconds before they come to. It's like when you flip an alligator over and stroke its stomach, goes, that's when you take all their money and kill. It's like 30 seconds after the orgasm, we're legless. Marry me and give me all your money. Okay. Okay, so anyway, that's how they get us. So anyhow, we're watching the band, and they go, all right, kids, here's your last chance to dance. And we're like, oh, no. And you can't leave the dance in the middle of Stairway, because that is to admit defeat. So you have to stand there and watch the band do Stairway and go, this really sucks. I know, it totally sucks. And then they come to the end, and she buying Stairway. Here. All right, kids, thanks a lot. We are Fancy Colors. We'll be playing in Wheatbridge, Maryland next week. Until then, keep on rocking. Like, and you mope back with your horrible posture back into the dressing room where you got in your gym gear every day, and now your coat's sitting in there, and you get your coat on. And you stand outside the gym waiting for your parents to come and pick you up. And I know it's the 90s. People left school these days with, 4 women, a gun, and they're drinking, snorting, shooting, hoe punching, driving around, killing everybody. My day, we waited for our mummies and daddies to pick us up. And so I'm outside the school, gym, waiting for my dad to pick me up. And I'm hoping he will be the last person of all the kids to come, because I don't want anyone to see my father, because he's terrifying. And everyone will go, ooh, your dad is like evil. And so you hear the first car coming up the gravel driveway. You hear the crunching gravel, and you're like, don't be my dad, don't be my dad, don't be my dad, don't be my dad. It's my dad. First guy up. And you see the eyes of hate burning through the windshield. He has driven 30 miles from the city into the suburb to pick up the screeching, pale white, skinny monkey boy, high on Ritalin, an anti-psycho hyperdrug. To pick up his loser child and take it back into the city and drop it off at the ex-wife's house when he could be out drinking and minority baiting. But no, he has to pick up the kid, and he's hate. And so it's like, and you see the burning eyes. I'm like, oh no. And everyone's like, who's that man? And they see the screeching monkey boy showing early signs of Tourette's going towards the car. They're like, oh man, that's why he's so fucked up. Look who his dad is. And I get in the car, voonk, huge American station wagon, about 40 feet long. Sit down, put the old-fashioned seatbelt on. Is this back in the days when they had one seatbelt, low and tight across your lap, just like me on your sister. And it took them a while. Are you with me there? It took them a while to see enough crash films where if you take a human body and you put the one seatbelt on and you run the car at a wall, the seatbelt stabilizes the body and makes the front of the head do a clean and energy-efficient path towards the dashboard. And so more brains got splattered with those seatbelts than if someone was allowed to fly like a bird through the windshield. And so after seeing enough people going, here comes the wall, when there's your brains all over the dashboard, what do you think of that? They got a hint from the Europeans, all those Saab and Volvo drivers who are coming home alive from huge crashes, because for another $1.39, you got another strap. What do you think of that? And so after a while, you had the, hey, we're still alive. But back in those days, it was like, low and tight across your waist. So I'm like looking at my feet, and we're driving, like 12 miles goes by, nothing. And I look over, and he's not talking to me, like, hate. And I look over at his lap to see if it's there. It is. The cold can of Pabst Blue Ribbon, cool in his ball sack. Every red light. Boom, 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 boom. Cheap cigar coming out of this hand as he steers. This knuckle up against his nose. Broken cartilage from his years as a hockey player, as a youth in Milwaukee. Drinking, driving, smoking, hating his kid. 4 blocks from my mother's lair. Like, hey, kid. Yes. Get laid tonight? Pulls up to the house. No. Fag. He's like, throws it empty out the window and boom, goes barreling off. And I, put the key in the door. Hi, Mom. What did you call me? Sorry, Satan. Like, that's better. And so I lived in Satan's basement. I liked living in my mother's basement because I liked it aesthetically, because I could get on my tiptoes and look out the basement window and see the front lawn. At best, I'm at ground level. If I sat down, I'm below ground level. Awesome. Perfect for a guy like me. Self-loathing with no self-esteem whatsoever. And I'd come back from these dances like, I'm never going to meet a girl. I'm just going to sit here for the rest of my life on this bed and just be a subterranean boy. I'll be America's first goth boy. And I'll listen to the same Who record over and over again. Because I had the cheap little record player. If you don't take the tone arm off, it plays the side over and over. And I would just listen to side 1 of The Who's Tommy because I was too just apathetic to get up and change it. So the first side of that album became like one 23-minute mantra to me. It's a boy. I'll never meet a girl. And I hear my mother's cloven hooves on top of the, like, what are you doing down there? Nothing, just bumming out. That's good, And so one weekend, I had stopped going to the dances because it was just too debilitating and like really hard on the self-esteem. And so I'm just sitting in the basement on a Friday night waiting for Monday to come to go back to the Dostoevsky in hell that was my school. And the door opens. You have a telephone call. Make it short because one of my many minions may be calling me tonight. All right, Mom. What did you call me? Satan. Sorry. And I get on the phone. Yes. Hey, Henry, it's Ricky. Yeah, what's up, Ricky? Let's go to a dance tonight. Ricky, I can't. My self-esteem is plummeting. I can't take it anymore. My feelings of inadequacy, I just can't do it. I'm just going to sit in Satan's basement and become a human stalagmite and just wait until I die. Well, fuck that, man. You got to come with me. No, I can't do it. I can't sit against a wall and feel inadequate for 2 hours and then go home with my balls aching. I can't do it. He goes, no, tonight's going to be different. I go, how could it ever be different? We're going to go to a Catholic girls' school. They're going to rip our clothes off. Catholic girls are wild. What do you have to lose? And I'm thinking, what do I have to lose? My self-respect? I don't have any. So I went, okay, I'll go. And it was like 1.5 miles from my mother's lair, and so I could walk there. And if you've noticed, a lot of Catholic girls' schools, they have very intimidating names where they get to use a woman's name, fire, blood, and some piece of viscera. Like St. Teresa, Our Lady of the Flaming Nipple or something, with blood. With lots of blood. And it's like, these very intimidating names. And so we went to the Our Lady, the flaming esophagus with blood, and paid $2, and you go into this dance hall, and it's a gym, and it looks like any other gym, but theirs is a little nicer than ours. And I got my little piece of wall that I'm so used to, and I'm watching. But this time, which makes it even worse, there are boys and girls dancing, which means it can work if you weren't such a dork. And it made me feel even worse. I'm like, oh no, people really do dance at these things. Oh no. And the boys and girls are looking good. They're out there like, don't rock the boat, baby, hey, wow. And they're dancing, and the cover band's like, got the guitars down low, and they're rocking. And I'm like, oh no, I suck. And like the dance is nearly over, and I see a girl walking across the dance floor looking at me. And I don't know what to do with myself. I can't get the head thing going. So I'm just like, like Tourette's is setting in. And I think she's probably looking at some cool guy next to me, but there's nobody next to me. She's looking at me. And I'm like, whoa, a girl is walking up to me. I mean, it blew my mind. Dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, an average white band T-shirt on, AWB, and the W is a chick's ass, wild logo. Green army fatigue jacket, jeans and sneakers. And she's like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, she walks up to me, into me, puts her arm over my shoulder against the wall, leans in and goes, "Hi, what's your name?" I'm like, "Henry." "All right, Henry, let's go outside." I'm like, before I can say anything, she's got her arm around my shoulder and she's walking me outside. I'm like, my friend sees me, he's like, "All right, dude." I'm like, and my first boy-girl potential experience, she's in charge. I'm like, "Oh, be gentle." And we walk outside, and we're in this courtyard, and she looks from side to side, coast is clear, pulls out a pack of Marlboros, puts one in her mouth, lights up like she's been smoking for 30 years, like, "So, what grade are you in?" "Cigarette." And I don't smoke. I think it was a bad idea then. I think it's a worse idea now. And so she goes, "Pook," and one comes up, and I have to keep up with her. So I'm like, "Oh, of course, I smoke all the time." And instead of kind of leaning over and getting in the corner of my mouth like I'm some inmate at a prison, I went, "Oh, thank you." And I put it right in the middle of my mouth, and I just kind of stood there like waiting for the thing to explode, like it's a joke cigarette. And she holds up the lighter, and I'm supposed to go like, "Thanks, babe. So, you hate math or what?" Make that stupid talk you do when you smoke. And I don't have the hand-eye coordination to get the cigarette lit, so I'm like, miss. And it's like 30 seconds. Her thumb is burning now. She's like, "Are you going to light this thing or what?" And in this desperate attempt to light it, I grabbed her hand and leaned over and sank the cigarette down on the flame and docked the middle of the cigarette to the flame and ignited the middle third of the cigarette. And it lights up like a candle. I go, and she's looking like, "Who is this guy?" And I put it in my mouth with like this huge plume of smoke coming from it. I'm like, and my lungs said, "What are you doing to me, Henry?" Because it's like smoking 3 Lucky Strikes at once. And my body went, "No, don't." And I went, the world started going, whoa, 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 whoa. And all I tried to do was not fall on my face. I was like, she goes, "What's the matter? Don't smoke?" I go, "Oh, no, I smoke all the time." And there's like this vapor comes out of my mouth. And I'm like, and then I was trying to hang out. Like, I'm so normal, I can just talk. I go, "Wow, this is a great cigarette. I mean, I've had a lot of cigarettes, but this is a real good one." She's like, "Yeah, they sure know how to make them in North Carolina." Like, who the fuck is this guy? And so she looks from side to side, goes into her jacket, pulls out a small bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm like, "Oh, no. She uncracks, and hands it to me. And my total experience of hard alcohol is I've watched cowboy movies where John Wayne takes half a bottle of something, goes boom, 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 boom. Let's go kill somebody, and throws it against the wall, and they go out and shoot people on the range. So I reckon it's as about as lethal as iced tea. So I fill up both cheeks with Jack Daniels, boom, 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 look like a chipmunk storing nuts for the winter. And I go, gulp, and it's and that was no problem. Filling the cheeks and swallowing, no problem. Once it landed in my stomach, and it was calling in the airstrike, it was like, my body's like, "Henry, why do you hate us so much?" And I'm reeling from the effects of bourbon and tobacco. I'm holding a cigarette in one hand, a Jack Daniels bottle in the other. I am the future poster boy for Motley Crue. I'm like, and she, I'm just like, "Ugh." And I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And so she takes the bottle back and caps it and looks at me really dubiously. She goes, "All right, let's go inside and dance." She takes her cigarette, I goes, and flicks it into a tree. And I remember, even in my fucked up state, going, "That's a fire hazard." And I'm such a Boy Scout. And I dropped mine on the ground. I was like, "Ha, gotcha." And she puts her arm around me and walks me back into the dance floor like, "Here's my little piece of chicken I picked up." And I'm like, trying to walk a straight line. I'm like, just woo, I'm gone. And we walk in, and the band is playing some up-tempo number, and everyone's on the dance floor dancing real slick, and I'm like, because all I know to do is I'm going to make an ass of myself, and I'm fucked up. So I'm I'll probably look pretty cool, But I don't know. So I'm like, no. And I'm instinctively backpedaling, looking for wall to stand against. She goes, "Where are you going?" we're going to dance. And she keeps walking me out there. I'm like, and then the song ends. I'm like, oh, thank God it's over. And I duck underneath her, and I start walking backwards. She's like, where are you going? We're going to dance. And she keeps walking me to the dance floor. And the singer says the words I did not want to hear. He said, all right, kids, this is the last song of the night. I'm like, oh no, because I don't know anything about slow dancing. So, and it's an 8-minute song. This is going to be excruciating. So I get out on the dance floor with this girl, and I grab her like, ha, gotcha. And I put my chin deep into her shoulder, like, all right. I was like hugging your mom. Hello, mom. Crotch way. This really sucks. And I got my chin burrowed down. All right, here we go. Just getting it over with. Eyes clenched tight, just trying to stay alive. And I feel her face moving. I'm like, what are you doing? Come on, get back in harness. I'll put my chin deeper into your shoulder. That'll learn you. That'll hurt. Come on. Yeah. And I feel her face moving, and she gets around me, and she's looking right at me. I'm like, what are you doing? And on the what are you doing, in the what part of what are you doing, my mouth is slightly open. Her mouth opens, and like the alien, her tongue goes, I'm like, and you remember your first 3 seconds of that kind of kiss, right? The first 3 seconds, maybe it was with your first girlfriend or boyfriend or the weird uncle who never got asked back to the party after he did that thing to you. I'm not trying to open up any old weird wounds, but if that's how you got it on the first time, or the third or fifth time, you remember that it was kind of weird at first. Like, whoa, that's a different feeling. But from seconds 3 on, you became like kiss master, tongue expert. And that was my experience. I was like, whoa. Aha, I've got it. I am the king of tongues, yes? And now I will tease you by withholding my tongue for a moment. Mm-hmm. And now a plague of tongue. I am touching your teeth with my tongue. And we're getting through the song. And as we wind on down the road, I'm lamped onto this young thing like a Blacosmus catfish. I'm sustaining myself on air from her fragile young lungs. Like 7 minutes later, and she by stay away to heaven. And, the guy comes to the end. All right, kids, we're a band slightly better than Fancy Colors, and we'll be playing some high school next weekend. Keep rocking. Everyone leaves the dance floor except me. And the girl. I never wanted it to end. I knew it would never happen again. So I'm holding on for dear life. And with the remaining energy in her mere slip of a girl body, she puts both palms up against my fragile bird-like cavern chest and goes, 1, 2, 3, and the lip lock is broken. I go staggering back to like, I love you. Get away from me. I love you. Get out of here. Are you sure? And I walked home. Thanks. And I walked home like a mile and a half back to the lair on Mount Greystone, and with a perpetual storm. And I'm like, whoa. My God, my tongue is a master of something, yes? And I played all my little rock and roll records for the rest of the weekend, and they all changed meaning, because now I understood. And Led Zeppelin became a whole other trip to me, like a whole lot of love. I now understood Robert Plant's scolding tone when he said, "Woman, way down inside, go, you need push, hippie lyric." And I was like, I know what you need, woman. Because I have had my tongue in a teenage girl's mouth for many minutes on end. And it became a plague on my senses. And I went back to school on Monday like, do you know what I did this weekend? And they were like, get away from me, weird monkey boy. I'm like, and no one believed me. I kissed a girl this weekend. Yeah, right. I'm like, but I did. Look, like, get out of here. Go back to your closet. All right. And thank God for the Catholics, and I think it's the, I think it's the oppressive nuns I think it's those mean, bearded, big forearmed sisters who come up to those girls. You're not going to do anything with your body. Keep your vulva to yourself or I'll knock the living shit out of you. And some of the girls go, okay. And they carry along all that guilt for the rest of their lives like, oh, I know. And some girls go, no way. Fuck you, sister. I'm going to take the weirdest, scraggly-looking, weird white monkey boy off the wall, take him outside, fuel him with cigarettes and alcohol, take him on the dance floor, and take my sweetly throbbing young tongue and force it into his mouth and blow his mind and ruin him for life. What do you think about that, sister? And that's what happened to me. And I don't know if I'm lucky or cursed because from then on, you know how it is. You're like, no. It's like the wish it's like the answered prayer. Sometimes you wish you never knew because for the rest of your life, you're like, oh! And you see where John Lee Hooker and all those guys get off making all those records when those wonderful women walk out the door. Thanks for having me. Good night. Thanks a lot, y'all. You've been great. Thanks. I imagine that many of you are taking a chance on this show. Maybe there's nothing else to do tonight at home. You see the poster, Henry Rollins, oh, I remember that guy. Spoken word, what the fuck is that? And why would I care? And it's such a boring sounding genre. It's nothing I would ever go to. And so I admire you that you're taking a chance, and I respect it, and I'm very thankful. Because I did a talking show in beautiful throbbing, cosmopolitan Oslo about 10 years ago. It was a fucking disaster. And I was so excited to be in Norway because one of my favorite writers of all time, Knut Hamsun, comes from Norway. And I took the train up from Malmo, Sweden, way at the bottom of Sweden and all the way up. And I look kind of raggedy. And the border police come on the train and they make me stand up and they go through all my luggage, which was a backpack, in front of everybody. They're pulling all my stuff out. And like, so what are you going to do in Norway? Well, I'm going to do a talking show. And trying to explain that to a narc is just, you can't do it. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to talk about my dick, my dad, and all this shit. And they let me in, and I do this show in this small club, and I'm really excited to be. I'm in Norway. And I'd never been here before. And I was very excited, and everybody was drunk. And I was going on before this band, an Australian band called Died Pretty. And everyone was there pretty much to see the band. And everyone's drinking. And I went up there and I lasted like 20 minutes. And everyone was like, and I'm like, if you don't be quiet, I'm going to leave. And I was like, I'm like, oh, fuck it. And I just like went backstage, went up to the promoter. I said, pay me and let me go. And he went, tack. And I went, phew, and I was gone. And so, yeah, I was kind of hesitant to come back, not wanting to get that again. But I've been at this venue like 3 times before, and you all have always been really cool. And so when I saw this date on the itinerary, I was very excited. So I'm really glad to be here. I got here into Scandinavia in about 48 hours ago. I came from Australia to Sweden, and I did a show last night in Stockholm. And interesting thing I tripped on with the language up here. I know it's different than how it is in Sweden or Denmark or Finland, but there's some similarities in the languages in the different countries, and one threw me. And yesterday I went into the lobby in Stockholm, and a very beautiful woman behind the counter, and I was like, all right. And yeah, I'm near 40. I'm desperate. Anyway, so I go up to the counter. I go, hi, you should have a reservation for 2 nights for Henry Rollins. And the woman goes, hey. And hey, where I come from, can be taken a few different ways. Like, if you hear, hey, you're going to get your ass kicked. You know, that's like a cop coming for the scruff of your neck to pull you out of your car to beat you to death. That's, hey! Okay, then there's, hey, which is like the super familiar. Like if you call your boyfriend your girlfriend and you don't even know, you don't have to say, it's me. They just know. You just go, hey, hey. And so here I am after, without counting layovers or late flights, I've been on 3 different airplanes for 22 and a half hours, getting from Sydney to Stockholm. So I'm out of my mind from fatigue to the point where I was crying at the movies on the last leg of the flight. You know how it is when you've been up for like a day and a half?
you get very maudlin, and I'm watching the movie on that little tiny screen, and it's, this is like The Sixth Sense, the Bruce Willis movie with like the little kid who sees dead people. And I've watched the movie 5 times now in the last like 2 days from all the different flights. And it's a cool movie, but on the 5th time, the kid spends most of the movie crying. And so by the time you've drank like 30 cups of coffee, you're going toxic from bad airplane food, dehydration from breathing 5th generation air, and you've been up for like a day and a half. You're watching the kid cry, you just lose it for the entire duration of the movie. He's crying, I'm crying, I see dead people. Oh, my God. And they're letting everybody into Sweden but me. They're just taking passports. You. I'm like, no. Yeah. Where are you going? Sweden. You're in Sweden. What else is your excuse? A hotel somewhere. I have no idea. Some dude's picking me up. You don't know where the hotel is? No. And you don't know the name of the guy who's picking you up? No. Dude, man, promoter dude. And you think you're gonna come into our country not knowing where the fuck you're going? Please. Don't make me get back on another airplane. Anything but that and Bruce Willis. No. So I get to the hotel. I get to the lobby and I say, hi, 2 nights for me. And the woman goes, hey. And like I said, hey has a different connotation. And it's H-E-Y. Yours is H-E-J. Hedge, where I come from. And someone was like, hey. And I'm looking at this beautiful woman. And I've been up for like, a week and a half. And I went like, hey, yourself. I thought she was, hey, And immediately she goes into the classic Scandinavian, glacial and distant thing. You all know how you are. You're like, hey, how you doing? Okay. You ever laugh? What is laugh? Okay. You're a tough bunch, rough bunch, tough room. Anyway, she just went, whoo! I was like, what? And I realized that, hey, just means what? Can I help you? And for the rest of the day, every waiter, hey, I'm like, fuck you, give me the omelet. Well, I'm ready. So today I get here, hey, I'm like, yeah, let's go. And so I was ready. Interesting thing, I just spent like 2 weeks in Australia before I came here, which is a different side of the world. It's like blazing hot there right now. Here it's getting ready to snow. There it's like suntan time. And right before I got there, there's a thing that happened in Australia that I was not privy to, information-wise, because I'd been in America, where American media only centers on American events. Like, for example, the Air Egypt crash that went into the water the other day. Horrible thing, 217 people dead. But the only thing they're really talking about on CNN is the 4 Americans. Like, 213 people died and 4 Americans. Oh my God, 4, we lost 4, oh my God. But what about the other 213? Oh, they're from some other country where we have a Nike factory or something, whatever. And that's classic Americana. We care about our own, and everywhere else we have a McDonald's, and we're paying them 3 cents a year to work and make shoes. Fuck them. And so something that happens in Australia is not news unless an American has been blown up in an embassy. And so I get to Australia, and all these people, these media people descend upon me, and they said, so what do you think of the referendum vote happening on Saturday? And I'm like, totally caught me ass out. I'm like, what are you talking about? And it's pretty interesting, I think. It's Australia had a chance to take a vote and vote if they wanted to be their own republic or if they still wanted to be under the umbrella of the Queen, because they are kind of a suburb of England. The Queen is on their money, and they are kind of part of Great Mother England. And I was really rooting for Australia to vote themselves independent and just be Australia. Dun, da, da, we are on our own. And I was really hoping they were going to go, goodbye, Queen. And they didn't. They wimped out, and they're staying with the Queen. And I got no problem with England, but I thought that Australians would be bolder and have more balls. And quickly, I will give you the 2-minute, thoroughly bastardized history of Australia. It's totally wrong, but I love it. And so anyway, here you go. Many years ago in England, there's a bunch of very bad people. Rapists, muggers, buggerers, thieves, white-collar criminals, embezzlers, internet fraud motherfuckers, all kinds of bad people. And the Queen or whoever was in charge said, enough! You're not fit to live on this cold, gray rock in the middle of the spitting, gray-green Atlantic Ocean. You're not fit to live in this moist, horrible place with boiled and fried food, overloaded with white sugar, in rooms that feel like the inside of a fucking coffin. You're not fit to live in this holy land of England, where the sun comes out a total of 4 minutes a year. You've been there. It's brutal. And the people there got a lot of soul, because you'd have to have a lot of soul to survive generation after generation in a place that is gray all the time. Kids go outside, they have a new ball. I'm going to play this. Oh, fuck. And if the kid comes back in, Mommy, we saw the sun for 2 whole minutes. Stop your lies! Stop your lies! Get back in your closet. And the place is like this Dostoevskian, Orwellian, Kafkaesque hell, dungeon. And you understand why all the music that came from England, like the Cure guy. You've seen him. Help me. He's miserable, right? Look at him. And Morrissey, he could only be from England because he's not a bad guy. He's English. He has to deal with day upon day of bad food, water that makes your teeth fall out, and days of gray and moist. With rain, it rains all the time there, but it never says, fuck you, I'm raining. Now I'm done, and now the sun's going to come out. It's all day, which is like having a sick man coughing on your cheek all day. Like you're walking down the street. Yeah, right. You're like, cut it out. Just give it to me and let the sun come out. No, man. Here's a reef record. And so there's these very bad men and women in England. Arr, we're bad buggers, sluggers, rapists, and all kinds of types. And the Queen or whoever was in charge at that point said, well, you don't get to have shitty food and bad living conditions. We're going to send you to a place far worse. And they're thinking, far worse than this? Oh, no. And they're thinking, Siberia. Look, the river Styx, hell. And so they're all kicked onto a boat. Remember, this is my version of it. Like, all right, you scurvy bastards, whoomp. And they're thrown onto a boat and they sail away from Mother England. And they're thinking, oh no, it's going to be really bad. And months go by and the air gets warmer and warmer. And the captain goes, you see that landmass, you scurvy bastards? And they're like, yes. That's your new home, you bastard criminals, you rapists. And they're like, okay. And they get off into Australia. Palm trees, mango trees, all kinds of stuff. Lots of food, lots of wild game, lots of sharks, sun, fun, the Pacific Ocean, white sand, clean air, lots of room to move. And they're like, oh yeah, right. Oh, we've been so bad. Oh. And they said, all right, so, boom, there, see you later. And they're like, okay, bye. Woohoo! By that evening, the hibachis are going. They're cooking fish out on the beach. They're screwing the native women. Woohoo! They're having a great time. They're becoming Australians who are just this wild bunch of Mel Gibson clones. They're like rawhide, but Australian. And they're wild and they're vibrant and they're a great bunch of people. They're like cowboys with palm trees and sharks and crocodiles. And they're rude as fuck, yes. And so anyway, but not as rude as the Germans. Anyway. And not as, but... Yeah, right. Isn't that nice to bash another country? Okay, let's pick someone else. We can always go after the Belgians. They're a miserable lot, aren't they? Always the French. Ooh, look at them with their black gums and their caved-in chests and their syphilitic poetry and their non-rock music. It's too easy, But let's be nice. So anyway, I'm sorry, the history of Australia. And so they have this big, beautiful landmass, and the captains sail back to England to get back home to all that misery. And the Queen goes, what was it like? Well, Queen, it was horrible. Yeah, well, sunny. Oh, you would have hated it. The sun was out every day, and there's all this good food to eat, and we caught all kinds of great fish, and everyone got really healthy and tan, and everyone got laid, and we played ZZ Top tapes by the hibachi. It was miserable, horrible. And like, and right around, with 100 or 500 years of that time, I'm leaving myself a lot of room here. A bunch of people said, hey, fuck you, Queen. We're leaving to go worship our God in our own way, so piss off. Well, fine then, fuck off. And they went and formed America. So I wonder if the Queen was like, you guys got Australia, you guys got America, And all I got is this fucked up rock. It would have made her so mad because England's like every day. And like there's Australia. How you going, mate? You know, woohoo! The Great Barrier Reef is their front yard, and there's lots of good eating and lots of good time. In America, Bruce Willis owns it. We're all rich and dangerous, and we have politicians in our pocket, and we treat the rest of the world like a third world cesspool, and we're having the time of our lives. And there's England. I'm getting sicker by the day. Wham! And so I was really excited for Australia to go, we're taking our own country and we're doing our own thing. But they wimped out. And maybe next time around, the voters will be younger and they'll be more progressive and more adventurous and they'll bust a rock and roll move and they'll take their country for themselves. But this time, the old folks won out. But I had a day off there between shows. And I was in Cairns, C-A-I-R-N-S, Cairns, Australia, where the Great Barrier Reef is. And they put me on a boat. And they pushed me out a couple of miles away from the shore. And they said, here's the snorkel and a mask and some flippers and jump off the boat. And I'm like, okay. And they kicked me off the boat. And I'm from America where everything is toxic and filthified and dangerous and violent and overpriced. And all the water is polluted with condoms and garbage and bodies floating in it. And you look for fishies in the river, but they're all dead. In fact, you can light fire to the river. And you don't swim in the ocean anymore because there's bodies and garbage bags and condoms and all kinds of stuff floating around. And nothing lives in there except, things that eat garbage. And so I'm expecting to see 4 or 5 fish. That's how jaded I am. I'm going to go out to the Great Barrier Reef, put on the mask, look down and see like 4 fish, like, fuck you, get out of my pool. I look down, there's like millions of fish, all different, all brightly colored. It was like the coolest movie I had ever seen. I'm like, whoa. And when you go like, and paddle down underneath to go hang out with them, they all kind of, you try and touch one, they're like, hey. And you're really not from that neighborhood. And it's so funny to be like this gangly, white, tattooed thing, like spitting salt water, and these fish are so graceful, and you look like such a klutz among them. And it's not like walking around in a country like in France, where you can walk around and not say anything, and hey, you could be French. But in the ocean, you're definitely not from there. And I felt like such a foreigner. And I dove down, I'm trying to hang out with the fish, and they're all like, they give you these looks, like they're just kind of hanging out, like, and they give you room. You're like, oh, I want to be with you. No, I got to go up from where you are. Sorry. So you get these like 15-second gaps of like, I am one with the fish. Sorry, I got to go. And then you come back down again. So I went back down at one point, and I looked down, and there's a sea turtle underneath me. And he's going this way. And from the water fools you. You don't know whether he's arm's length or like 100 feet below you. But he's beautiful, and he's huge, and he's right below me. And I can see everything on him. I can see his feet and his shell and his head. And he's moving just magnificently through the water. He's like a poem. He's so beautiful while he moves. Effortless. He's built to cut through the water like a hot knife through butter. And so I'm looking at him. He's fascinating. And so I'll just swim with him. I'll swim over top. He can have the lower. I'll stay up here with my snorkel. And sooner or later, he's going to come up for air, and I'll get a real close look at him. So me and the turtle are just kind of boogieing through the Pacific Ocean, and I'm having my little new age epiphany. It's me and the sea turtle. We are one. And we're like, and the sea turtle's just going really slow, like, and at one point he looks up, and he looks right at me, and I'm like, all right. And he goes, fucking tourists. And he goes from like first to third gear, like effortlessly. He's like, I'm like, whoa. And I'm like dog paddling, splashing water, ingesting whole lungfuls of salt water, blowing it back out with salt water and mucus. And I'm swimming along, and he's just like, all right, I'll have to show you something. And without even like making it look like he was going any faster, he just leaves me in the dust. He goes like, I'm like, fuck it, he's out of there. And I look around, the boat is like 1.5 miles away. I'm like, oh no. And the lifeguard dude on the boat's going like, get back here, you fucking idiot. And you know how you guys are. You never admit it when you get lost. You never admit it when you don't know how to use a tool. And you never admit that you're tired or you can't do the job. And so there I am, dog paddling back, trying not to drown as I get back to the boat. So I don't want the guy to jump in with a little life preserver and drag me back to the boat in front of a bunch of women. And so I'm paddling back. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Never better." Trying not to sink below the surface where I know I'll go and breathe 2 full lungs of water and go straight to the bottom and be dead in 30 seconds. I get back to the boat. I don't know, it took me like a day and a half. I get back to the boat. I'm like, "I'm cool." I got my back turned to the boat so they don't see I'm like puking for life. Like, "All right, are you okay?" "Oh yeah, no problem with me. I was just checking out a sea turtle. I am an expert swimmer." And so luckily no one busted me. And later they made us get back on the boat and they took us into shore. But it was utterly magnificent to see, this wildlife and to be up there. You're about 4 city blocks from the sun when you're at this part of Australia. People get burned regularly. They walk around the corner like, "Don't," because the sun is right there. And a day later, I was in Darwin, which is like the northern tip of Australia. And you can literally just stick your hand up and boom, that's the sun. And by noon, it is like 100 and some degrees, and there's so much moisture because you're basically on the water, and the heat is paralyzing, and everyone moves slow. Everyone is stunned into a stupor by the sun. You see people's like, eyes bugged out. Looks like someone just hit him in the back of the head with a stick. They're like, and people just kind of sit around. "How you going, mate?" "Fine." "Yeah?" "Yeah." And they just kind of do everything slowly because if you run across the street, you'll sweat to death and you'll get to the other side and you'll be like a tortilla chip. Like, boom, you're dead. You're dead. You weigh like half a gram. You're dead. You're dead. You're dead. And so I was sitting outside eating food underneath this umbrella at a coffee place, and I noticed the flies. The flies too have been paralyzed by the heat. You used to seeing flies. They fly up to you and they land right next to you, and immediately the front 2 feet come up and they start like, "I am blending something, yes?" And you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna kill your ass." And like, whip, he's gone. You're like, "What the fuck? How did he do that?" He's up on the ceiling. I'm back again, the fly, eh? And he comes back to eat part of your food. Like, okay. Bam! The plate goes up, the potato sticks against the wall, or you try and hit them on your head, you nearly wreck the car. You can never get them. They're fast little fuckers. But in this part of Australia, the flies are also paralyzed by the heat, and you see them flying towards you like, coming in for landing, and they see your eye like, water, and they kind of land on your eye like, nah. You're like, there's a fly on my eyeball. You're like, expecting him to leave. No, he wants you to kill him. He wants you to take him out of his heat-imprisoned misery. And so you just go like, and the fly goes, "Thank you." And you have this dead insect on your eye. Like, and then another one, he sees your mouth. Water. It just goes into your mouth and just kind of saying, and you're like, and it just like lands against the wall and goes, and then they start landing everywhere and they just kind of come up to you, "Kill me, just kill me," and you can just like. They don't even try and fly away. You hear them going, which is a fly for "thank you, I can't take it anymore." It was brutal. And then I get on 3 different airplane flights, ingest all kinds of coffee and bad airplane food, watch at least 18 hours of mediocre Hollywood movies, and I get to Scandinavia, get out of the plane in just my sweatshirt and a pair of pants, get hit with weather. It's like getting hit in the face with a Buick. And I'm walking down the streets with just a sweatshirt on. Is the only winter clothes I have. And people looking at me, they think, "God, he's so crazy looking. Look at this man with the weird, fading tattoos and the graying hair. Oh, he's shorter in real life. And he's wearing a sweatshirt? Are you insane?" And so here I am. So anyway, thanks. Well, it's not like a routine. I'm just telling you how I got here. Lately, I've been in all these different countries. I stay on the road about 11 months a year because to me, the world is fascinating. And being at home is really depressing. Because by the second time I've been to the grocery store and the guy goes, "Hey, so you're off tour, huh?" I feel my life going, "You." And life gets really mediocre. And I've been on the road for almost half my life. And I know the truth. And the truth is that out in the world, everything happens. And you go to every country, and people are really cool. And there's cool local music, great local food, and all these wonderful people you can meet. So for me, why stay home? Why not stay out on the road as often as possible? And being out on the road lets me get different angles on my own language. Because I think I'm fascinated with the English language because it's the only one I can really speak. And it's a very dead language. All of you speak perfect English. You learned it in half an hour. In fact, many of you learned it like on your way to work in traffic, right? You just got the How to Speak English book, and by 4 red lights, you spoke English fluently because it is the most bone-simple language there is. No hard words, no hard spelling, nothing is hard to say, nothing like the throat cancer you call your language. What did you just say? I told him to open the door. What the fuck? This is my girlfriend, Klinde. Hey, baby, what's up? Like, don't call me baby, I'm Klinde. Okay, yeah, right, baby, yeah. You know, and I don't know how you all learn that language. What the fuck? It's like you're possessed by demons when I hear you speak. Flock, baby. You're like, damn, that's so cool. And I have this utterly generic, hello, I'm from nowhere kind of language, which is really suited for newscasters. It's good for hearing the weather. Today's weather is cloudy and rainy. Hey. And that's the white experience of the English language. And so I'm always looking for new ways to say stuff and new slants on the English language because it's about as exciting as a bowl of oatmeal or like 900 yards of cardboard. There's really nothing going on. And that's why there's like great rap lyrics who take, some of these guys take language and they spin it into a whole new thing. You go, whoa, now English is exciting again. This is cool. Or you read a great poem or some great moment in literature when someone takes all these words you've been saying all your life and puts them together in such a way where you go, oh, that's beautiful. Like F. Scott Fitzgerald, great American writer. He does that for me. I'll read like a passage of him, or Mark Twain, where you read him and you go, oh, English isn't so bad if someone knows how to use it. Shakespeare, oh, magnificent, And so I'm always looking for the new slants on English because it's a pretty dead language. And I get it when I'm outside of America. Years ago, the first time I was in Japan, I was in my hotel room, and by the sink was a little tin placard nailed up to the wall that said, "Be drinkable." And that doesn't fool you for a minute. You know what the guy was trying to say. The water's drinkable. And be drinkable. That's so cool. And so I met the rest of the guys in the band down in the lobby the next day. And I was like, be drinkable. Everyone's like, I know, that is so cool. Be drinkable. Because to me, it was like poetry. And it became part of the band's slang to mean be cool. Be loose, be fluid, be like a half-full glass of water. Like if the world is going this way, we'll just be, be drinkable, lean with it, and everything will look straight. All right. If you're stressing out, be drinkable. Yeah, all right, man, that's cool. And it says, it's 2 words, but it says so much, And so I dug that. And one time we were going from East Berlin into West Berlin, back when the wall was up, and that was the greatest rock and roll border crossing because the guy with the Uzi would come up to your van and want to see your passports, and he'd have that language. And I also think that English is amazing when it's spoken in different accents, like Russian people speaking English to me is so amazing, like, Henry, my ovaries are pulsating. I want you now. I want you upside down. I want you backwards. I want you now. You're like, fuck! I am yours. My seed is yours. Petra, my Petrovsky, Petronovich, Petrovitsky. Because it's just dripping with sensuality. Where on the other hand, the Germans, when they speak with English with a German accent, it's very bordering on B-movie or intense man you find at weird discos in small towns. My name is Klaus, yeah? I'm the man with the assless chaps, yeah? You find me later on tonight, yeah? I'll show you what the locals are like. But for now, just pinch my nipples for good luck. Don't be gentle. Yeah, okay. I'll see you later on the floor. You know, like, right. And so you'd be at the border, and the border guy comes up. I need to see your passport. Right on my comment. Would you shut up? He's got a fucking machine gun. Easy, easy. And so, like, here you go, sir. And he looks into the van, looking at the passports, like, finding every face. You put on your best dentine smile, like, hi, don't shoot. That's my whole face. That's the don't shoot smile. And he gives you your passports back. Why are you going into West Berlin? We're a band and we're playing music. Oh, you play rock music? Like a big crashing sound? Yes, sir. Like Chuck Berry, Sweet 16. Like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Okay, let me warn you about something. When you're driving through East Berlin and you have to make a urination, do not pull over to the side of the road. All the fields on the side of the road have been mined. You will be exploded. I never heard that before. You will be exploded. And that was so cool. Like, you will be exploded. Okay, well, we'll hold it in until we get to West Berlin because we don't want to get exploded. You don't want to get exploded. Not on the family holiday. Do not come home exploded. So he said, thanks, mein Commandant. Shut up. Would you shut up? Got the passports back and stayed in our van and drove straight ahead and not wanting to get exploded. And so on this one tour, we had a West Berliner, a man as our tour manager, wonderful guy. His name is Jackie. And Jackie said, today we're going to eat in an East Berlin restaurant. And we're like, that's cool, man. You're the boss. And so we pull over to a gas station / diner, which you've seen a million times. And you pull in, we walk in, we're all sitting at the table, and we have these menus that are in German. We're like, Jackie, translate. We are helpless. And he goes, I'll have a word with the cook. I'll be right back. And he walks away and he comes back. He goes, today's choice is fish. Now, that's a brilliant one-liner if you think about it, because the idea of choice denotes an option happening. So today's choice is fish. It's this brutal and funny kind of Las Vegas Henny Youngman-esque fascism. Today's choice is fish. Like, who chose? You know? Obviously not us. And apparently what the deal was really was that it's all the restaurant had was like some vegetables and fish. And so we all had fish. But that statement, that beautiful one-liner became uploaded into the band's slang wagon to mean you have no options. So, hey, can we do the tour in July? No, man, your choice is fish. Well, fuck, man. Hey, man, be cool, be drinkable, man. What's up with that? Like, all right, yeah, you're right, man. Okay, that's cool, you know? And I'm always looking for a new way to say something because it's so cool. You know, your choice is fish. That this is rocking. And many years ago, when I was living in this like really horrible part of Los Angeles, I had this really cool roommate, and she had just met this, I think a guy from the Philippines who just moved to America, and they were talking, and he was describing someone that he had just met who, you know, wasn't really throwing him into the strike zone, as they say. And he told my roommate Maeve, he said, this man, his shit was all apart. You get it, right? Didn't have his shit together. But what a beautiful way to say it. You know, the guy just didn't know what he was saying, but he knew what he wanted to get to. You know, like, his shit was all apart. Whoa, that's so cool to me. Because now you have a new way to say that. Instead of like, you know, hey, man, you know, he didn't have his shit together. Or you can say, oh, man, his shit was all apart. Ooh, I think that stuff is so cool. I get a bunch of mail from everywhere, every country where they have stamps, I get letters. And a lot of times people are writing to me in English as a second language, a third language. And, you know, for a lot of people, like maybe for a lot of you, English is a language that you learned in school and you had to memorize it for a test, and you memorized it and it flew in one ear and out the other. That's how I learned Spanish. I memorized it phonetically. Hombres robustos, donde roja escuela. As soon as the test is over, like, what the fuck did I just say? I have no idea what any of it means. And I didn't learn any of it. I didn't retain any of it. So a lot of times you're getting letters from folks who are writing you, and they're burning lean tissue to keep in touch with you because English is not their forte. And so it often lends to some of the most brilliant sentences I've ever read in the English language. And you get these letters like from the Eastern Bloc, from like Poland and Czechoslovakia or Slovenia, places like that, like, Dear Henry, for writing you am I, boy of 18, name Amos. For many times wonderful thrashing, for making bleeds come from my head as I leap from table while hardcore thrashings of your CD is wrecking eardrums of mine and friends. You're like, whoa! For many times wishing that you come to rocking in our country, much missing you of your friend and brother in rock and roll, Amos, plus much love and respect to members of other bands who are friends of you. You're like, and you want to write him back, Amos, for much happy getting your letter. Your communication strikes many joys of waves in ocean of what could be sorrow, but no, letter of you makes much difference. Like, can't wait to make many hard thrashings in your country of you. For you to buy me, for you saying greetings, goodbye, Henry. Or you can have a whole movie that's written like that. Or any dangerous situation, like a plane is going down, the stewardess could run through the aisles going, the engine on flaming, I declaration emergency. Everyone was like, what the fuck? Fuck! They would know what's going on. Crazy. I got a letter from a guy named Boris about 18 months ago, and he wrote to me, for him to write me, for in his letter, is like the greatest sentence I have ever seen written in my corny home language of English. And he said, Dear Henry, I am boy of 22, Mark, Czech Republic. Saw you in concert, 2X, both times. They were splendid, exclamation point. And here's the money sentence. He said, I'm should've collective photo, but small fat ball technologist be insane. And you're a cool, hip, suave, groovy crowd. This does not impede your understanding at all. He took his film to the strip mall store where they do prescriptions, film development, food, and medicine shopping all under one roof. And like they fucked up your film, they fucked up Boris's film too. And he's hopping mad about those small, fat, bald technologists and their problem with sanity. And it was such a great sentence. I'm should've collective photo, but small fat ball technologist be insane. Whoa! I memorized it. It was so awesome. And I wrote him back. I said, man, I'm sorry about that technologist, man. But I'll be back to rock for you in country of you. And we will get back there. It's a wonderful place to play. I can't wait to go back. And so anyway, that's one of the reasons why I stay out on the road, because it's all really cool. And you always hear stupid prejudice. People have really lame prejudices about places like, well, don't go there because everyone's fucked. Well, that's really lame, because almost every place I've ever been, people are wonderful if you're friendly too. Like, everyone rips on the poor old French. Fuck the French. I've been to Paris like 35 times. The French rock. If you're polite, they're polite. It's cool, And a lot of times you see Americans out in Europe, and the Americans who kind of like cart their big fat bellies everywhere and snap their fingers and call everyone, yo, Helsinki boy, come here. Yo, Vlad, Igor, you Viking boy, come here. They're rude, okay? But that's about 1/1,000,000th of Americans. The rest of us are pretty fucking cool. We live in a toxic, surrealist country run by idiots who want money and 16-year-old girls to twirl on their fingers. But the rest of us have a lot of soul by default, because we're living in such a hell zone that could be really cool. I mean, Chuck Berry comes from there. Jerry Lee Lewis comes from there. James Brown, Jimi Hendrix, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, the list goes on and on. So it could be the greatest rock and roll nation on earth, but instead it's like this kind of really fascinating, corrupt place where everything is rotting and turning red with pollution. And so that's another reason I stay out of there, because I don't want to die in there. But anyway, last year I had come to the end of all my shows, and I had just, I'd landed in Moscow to do 2 talking shows there, and I took it on as an adventure, because I realized the truth is, life is really short. I think you get about 65 laps around the track, 65 good ones, and then you need someone to help you shit. And while you still have the sap in your bones and you're looking good and you're thinking straight, you might as well get out and see it and experience it. And I think a lot of people use about 35% of their potential. They want to do this, but they settle for this, and they justify a life they don't like. They justify a job they can't stand, a city they're bored of, and friends they could care less about. And they go, well, I'm just going to toe the line and stay at Burger King and McDonald's and stay with this thing I married and live this life because I'm keeping it real. And life, meanwhile, is just going by going, man, you could have had the whole thing if you had the guts to get up early and work late and have some brains and a little bit of innovation and not go the way of so many other people. And life goes, see you later. You could have had it all, but you settled for flipping hamburgers at McDonald's and you hate that place and you're living a life you hate. And there's a lot of that in life, you know, and I reckon, and you know what I'm talking about. And so I don't understand why more people just don't take advantage of the fact that they're born in a Ferrari. You're born in this beautiful machine. You got this multi-gigabyte hard drive, and you can articulate, you can intellectualize, you can screw, you can write, you can think, you can leave, you know? And why not do all that stuff all the time? How people get thoroughly miserable for too long, I don't understand. I don't understand why people get bored. I don't understand why people get apathetic, and I don't understand why people drink so much alcohol all the time until they're like comatose. Like, I always think maybe it's good battle strategy that more males drink more alcohol because their women will get bored of them, and they'll come to me. That's how I'll get laid. I'll just starve them out. Like, honey, come with me. Look, it works. Sing, hey. You know, who do you need? The guy who's like snorting all and breathing beer all over himself? Or me, the guy who wants to fuck you? Hey. You know, so anyway, I don't know how we got over there. But anyway, it's one of the reasons why I go, because, there's so much stuff to do, you know, and life doesn't really care one way or the other. And I think with life, you get two choices. Either you live life or life lives you. And I don't think there's any in between. I don't think there's any real harmony. I think there's just different grades of cool conflict. And if you can approach life as kind of war, it's kind of groovy, you know, but the whole, I'm at peace with myself. You're fucking boring, man. I'd rather get up in the morning going, fuck, it's Tuesday, god damn it, bring it on, you know, and just get out there like, watch me do this, you know, because, you know, why not, man? Why not approach every day like Muhammad Ali, you know? Yeah. So anyway, sorry. What? I got this offer. When I was halfway through doing a bunch of speaking dates in Europe, I got this offer from my agent. He goes, okay, you like adventure? I go, yeah. He goes, you never want to go home? No. Then how about doing 2 thoroughly insane shows which you're not going to be able to pull off? I go, book it. He goes, I haven't even told you what they are. I go, you think I can't do them? Book them, fucker. I'll do them right in your face. You think I can't? Because I am such a sucker for that. If you say I can't, you got me. I'll die trying. So he goes, okay, fine. You want me to book? I go, yeah, book it. What have I just said yes to? He goes, 2 speaking dates in Moscow, Russia. I'm like, oh, fuck. You know Russia. It's right across the lake. It's right over yonder. And I've been to Russia at that point 2 times before. And the first time sucked. But on the other hand, the second time sucked. And so why would I want to go back for a third time? Well, the reason I went back is because of the same reason I'll go back a fourth and a fifth time if they let me. The people. If you've ever read Dostoevsky, I'm sure you have, or like a lot of Russian writers, the way they depict the people in Russia, very warm, very passionate people who have nothing, and they celebrate very hard. They live every day really hard. And when they party, they break the furniture. And when they sing until they're hoarse. And when they celebrate until everything breaks and they keel over. Because they don't really have much else. They don't have 400 channels on the TV and an extra car and lots of room. They got their life. And they've really attach themselves to what is really essential in life. Love, family, friends, song, and celebration of the very fact that you're breathing. And that's why I like to go back there every time, because even though Moscow is one continuous traffic jam, because it's all potholes with road cones, and it's easy to spot a pothole. Hey, there's a big fucking hole in the road. And it's easy to put a road cone down, but it's really hard to get the money to fix it when your country has no money. So every year that goes on, Moscow becomes a bigger and bigger one huge detour. And so if you want to get to the hotel, you have to drive to Cleveland, down to Miami, Paris, through Belgium, go over to Hawaii, and then to your hotel. It's just like everything is like, no, this way, this way, this way. It's just like tangled noodles trying to get anywhere. It's brutal. But anyway, I went back because I knew the people were going to rock. And every time I go there, like some guy will hug me. Henry, So good to see you again, my good friend, my brother in rock and roll. On your end of the world and mine, we maintain the rock. We will never stop rocking. They will never stop us. Man, that shit brings tears to my eyes. I'm like, right on, man. And the next show I do, I'm going to rock for you. I know I will be in the crowd rocking and rolling when you are on stage. You're fucking right. I'll play till I die if I can get an audience like that. And so I said, hell yeah, I'll go back to Moscow again. So I did. And as soon as I landed, I was like, oh, what have I said yes to? Because Moscow's insane, man. You've been to another country, right, where you get off the plane and you get in that nice, funky SE curve with the ropes and, the velvet ropes, so you go up to get your passport stamped. And there's like the flag and the local dictator on the wall, and they go chunk, and it's a very nice high-ceilinged, well-lit room, very official, very clean. You land in Moscow, and about 300 of you are slammed into a room that holds about 100 people, and the only moving air is this hole in the wall, belching white-hot furnace blast. And there's no line. There's just this big group of people. And some woman's hair's in your face, and some guy's, groin is grinding into your ass cheeks. You're like, hi, I'm Henry. What would you, Vincent? Hi, easy. And I'm standing there, like my lips cracking from just dry air, thinking about that bottle of water in my backpack, knowing if I pull it out, 300 people will descend on me. Give me the water. So I'm like, no. And I also realize if I don't get to the front of this tangled mass of people, I will be getting my passport stamped. I'll be waiting for like 2.5 hours, and I can't do it. It's late at night. I want to be in my bed. I know I still have 90 minutes of tangled traffic to get through to get to my bed, so I've got to do something I hate to do. Cut in line. Believe it or not that I've given you any real indication, I'm a very polite person. I was raised as a Boy Scout. I know I've given you no evidence of this fact, but it's true. I cannot cut in front of line. I cannot steal from somebody. I was not born to do any of that stuff. So I'm standing at the back of this huge, tangled mass of people going, I got to get to the front. Otherwise, I'm going to be here all night. And I'm thinking of the most polite way to cut in front of people and not make it look like I'm rudely cutting in front of people who are standing longer than I was and who I think deserve to be stamped quicker. And I said, well, I'm in a desperate situation and desperate measures apply. And I also reckon that a lot of people, have you noticed people in line, they kind of go going, Do you realize that a lot of people don't mind standing in line, that their life is so inessential to them, they're like cattle, and they don't give a fuck whether they stand in line at the post office for 5 minutes or 3 hours. It's all the same to them. Life is just kind of like, it's like pastel colors going by. Like, me, if I'm in the line of something for more than 3 minutes, I start sweating, I start jumping up and down, and I want to find someone to murder. I want to find the idiot ahead of me who does not know how to mail a letter and just kill him, or plant his ass so firmly onto my shoe that he flies for a day and a half before he hits the ground again. And so like we keep getting back to, life is short, and you must not suffer fools too gladly. Sometimes you got to give them a lot of room because there's so many of them out there. You ought to see where I come from. No one can read. It's just horrible. And they're all on cough syrup or something. They just kind of drive their cars like, oh, is that a green light? Oh, I guess I'll go now. Meanwhile, I'm on 2 wheels playing a Slayer CD, like shooting people, getting to work. Hey, I'm efficient. I get from A to B in a straight line on time. Anyway, so there I'm at the back. Remember Moscow, stay with me. And so I'm at the back, and I go, I got to get to the front of this thing. So I come up with this way to cut in front of people and not make it look like I'm cutting in front of people. And you can use this as a travel tip. Take your backpack and stick it diagonally away from your body and drop it. And it drops in front of someone kind of, instinctively backs up because a parcel has dropped at their feet. And you go, I'm sorry, I dropped my backpack. Go over, like you move about 3 rows up, slide your butt cheek onto the man's leg who you've dropped the backpack on, and just kind of start working your ass cheek against his leg. Most men will go like, whoa, 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 whoa. And they'll give you a little room. So you're like, oh, yeah, oh, Sheriff, I love you. And so you, oh, hey, work it. And, I'm sorry. And all of a sudden, you've just, like, tacked over here, and you're, like, 3 people ahead. And then, like, thunk. Oh, I'm sorry, I dropped my backpack. Oh, yeah, fucker. Oh, I'm sorry. Boom, 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 boom. About 10 minutes later, I'm up to the front, like, third of the pack. And I drop my backpack, and a man catches it on his foot and goes, don't try that shit with me. Okay, because now you're up at the front with all the alpha males who have chested their way up to the front. They've Jean-Claude Van Dammed it up to the front, and God damn it, they're not falling for the backpack trick. They blew that one off years ago. Now they just get to the, I'm an alpha male, I'm a silverback gorilla, I'm going to the front. Okay, take it, man. And so desperate measures apply here. And so I go, okay, I can't get by this guy. I'm going to need to set up an intense diversion. So I found the first senior citizen I could find, old woman, put the backpack down next to her. As I come up, here's her hip right about here. I come up, right elbow, bam, right into her hip. Now, with old folks, the hips go. Around 60 or so, the knees and the hips go. They're gone. And so when you hit the old broad here, she starts going. And you know from physics, an object in motion has a tendency to stay in motion, dot, dot, dot. And so she goes. She hits the ground like a sack of potatoes. And she's screaming and crying. And a lot of people, if you've noticed, have sympathy for an old woman on the ground screaming in pain in the fetal position. So everyone's like, oh my God, it's a little old woman screaming in the fetal position. And I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I'm almost up to the front, and I try and get through, and like all the front row males, I'll go, hey. I'm like, all right, backing off, backing off. So I find the first kid I can find. There he is. I put the backpack down. I'm coming back up. Here's his temple. Here's my elbow. Bam! And he hits the ground screaming in the fetal position, spasmodically, kicking around, making these weird mute animal sounds like with rockets, jets of blood coming from his nose, mouth, and one of his ears. Now, a lot of people love kids. You can't not love kids. And so when the kid is on the ground going, kicking like a dog that just got hit by a car with like this spray of blood, everyone goes, oh my God, it's a kid. Whoom, I'm out of there. I've got my passport stamped. I'm gone. And I just made all that up. So don't worry. I never hurt anybody. But anyway, I did connive and scam my way to the front, and a bunch of people went, excuse me, sir. I'm like, sir, listen, check out how I smell. You call me sir now? I was out of there. And so anyway, I meet Nick, the promoter, and we get in his car, and we drive through the hustle and bustle traffic that is Moscow. And I get to the hotel, and for the third time, I have the incredible, unique Moscow hotel lobby experience. It is amazing. I walk in, there's about 15 ridiculously beautiful Russian women, about 6'1", huge eyes, all dressed in Prada or Dior couture. And they're all standing like this. They're voguing. They have the weirdest, they're all like mannequins, like. They're mafia prostitutes, and they're basically staying in the lobby showing you their wares. And they have 1 to 3 men who protect them. The scariest looking, I just came from Siberia, motherfuckers you have ever seen. Visible scars on the face, missing fingers, eye gone, ear cut off. Huge men, no necks. It's like, I went to Siberia for 90 years for shooting family in broad daylight as joke. I mean, they're really hardcore guys. And they're immaculately dressed. You've seen them. They're like scary. And they're immaculately dressed in these amazing suits with these huge bulges where the hand cannon lives, like blows a cow in half. And so they're looking right at me because I'm walking through their property. And so I start thinking every pussy-ass thought I can, hoping it'll affect my body language. So I will walk through these people looking like I'm not a threat to their women. So I'm like, I'm a vegan, I braid my goatee, I talk to rocks and trees in the forest, I like Ben Folds 5 and the Dave Matthews Band, and I'm really mellow, and I wear a tampon once a month to have solidarity with my girlfriend, who I really don't have sex with because we just would rather talk about, Israel and Palestine and really weighty matters, and I'm basically a bag of recessive traits and 70% water, and please don't shoot me. Look at me. I live on tofu. And so I did that, and they went, let him live. He's pussy boy. Okay, I got through. Thanks. And so don't take me too seriously when I'm ripping on vegans. I rarely touch meat myself. But anyway, I get my hotel key, and I'm now slaloming through these women, wishing I had something really cool to say to them. I would love to be one of those guys who had the cool line for the ladies. Like a guy like Jimi Hendrix must have had 80 million hot one-liners. And he wouldn't even think. He's so cool. He's like, hey, baby, yeah, I guess I'll see you in my room later on, yeah. And he's going like, ah!
like running after him. Please, let it be me, let it be me. And me, you can tell, I'm a spaz. I have a tendency to blurt out. I see, what an ass! I'm sorry. Can I see your vulva? Shh, shh, shh. Bad. And so when I'm going through the women, I'm just like, Stump, nine, keep your mouth shut, don't blow it. And have you women noticed how men's body language changes when they approach you? They see you from across the room. In a place like this, the girl will be in that corner, the guy will be in this corner, checking her out, and the pecs become real hard. Like, I'm like this all the time. And the head starts going. It's like a pigeon. You ever seen, like, when the male pigeon is chasing around the lady pigeon in the park, and he's all fluffed out, and he's got the neck going, he's like, and he looks like such an idiot. And the female pigeon, she has all day long, and he's going like, and she's like, I don't think so. And he almost gets that little birdie dick up there, and she goes, no. Maybe, no. And you see the guy like, well, I'll just puff my chest out and get my neck going even harder. That'll impress you. And you see the male pigeon all day long. Straining to keep a little pigeon erection going so he can bag that female. She's like, I don't think so. And so, wow, how did I do that? But anyway, you'll see the guy from across the room. He's checking the woman out. Whoa. Starts making his approach. And have you ever seen that diagram, like the ascent of man? It goes from left to right. And example 1 is like, man, 30 million years ago. And it's like a chimp about this high with the knuckles scraping the ground. And like 8 million years later, it's Homo ergaster making its journey out of Africa up the Nile Valley into Europe. And it becomes Homo sapien, Homo erectus, and Cro-Magnon, all these different guys. And like 40 examples later, present day, it looks a guy like Clark Kent. And he's moving like this, hiding the naughty bits. And it's a modern man. And have you girls noticed that as the male approaches you, he starts out as the final modern example, but by the time he gets to you, he is devolved to the first example. And so by the time he gets up to you, he's like, and you fascinate him. He looks at, and he's just muttering the most insane, stupid shit. And then he must go bond with other males, and they're like busily, taking parasites out of each other's hide. And I must think that some of you women go, oh, fuck, that's my choice? It's either that guy or his friends. Oh no, what am I gonna do? And so that was me going through the women, trying to be cool, like. Shut up, keep your mouth shut, don't make a fool of yourself. Because, what are you going to say to a prostitute anyway? I mean, I could never have sex with a prostitute, that's too weird. But you want to say something like, hey, baby, yeah, to Moscow with love, baby, yeah. Like Jimmy would, but he'd be cooler because he's a natural. And so anyway, I went to bed, and the next day, I went down to the venue to check it out, knowing that this gig is going to be really hard to do because it's all going to be in translation. And so I'm in a movie theater with seats in front of me that have headphones screwed into the seats because this theater plays movies in translation. And so I asked Nick, the promoter, I go, Nick, how's this going to work? He goes, okay, you're going to talk. Peter, the translator, is going to be up in the projection booth listening to you. He's going to have a think about what you said, translate it, and say it back to the people in the headphones. I said, so there'll be a 15 to 20 second delay between what I say and what they hear. He goes, yeah. I go, that's like rolling an egg. Yep. I go, that's going to be like brutal. He went, yep. You want to do this gig, tough guy, it's all yours. And so, well, let me meet Peter, the translator, so we can talk and get a simpatico going, if you will. And so I sit down with Peter. I go, so Peter, you're a translator. No. But you know a lot of English, though. Pretty good, a little bit. I'm like, okay, that's no problem. It's just a challenge. Duke Ellington, the great Duke Ellington, once said, there are no such things as problems. There's just new challenges. So I said, okay, I'll take a challenge. But I said, okay, so you don't speak English very well. No. So tonight is going to be a disaster. He went, what is disaster? I'm like, oh, fuck, we're dead. We're dead. And I went out there on stage, and I was saying like whatever. And then I fell over in a ditch, and my head exploded. And you see everyone like, I look up in the projection booth, and there's Peter. His hands gesticulating wildly, small fat ball technologist, be insane. I don't know what he is saying to these people. And he might be making me look bad. I might be saying, hey, it's really great to be back in Moscow. Moscow is full of idiots. They're going to kill me. So it was excruciating, to put it in a word. And so we got through the first night, and it was like paddling upstream, using a Republican as a kayak and going through molasses for water. Rough going, but interesting. So anyway, the next day I wake up and Nick, the promoter fellow, has called me and he goes, hey, what are you doing right now? I go, nothing. I'm just in my room. He goes, come on outside. Let's go walk around Moscow. It's beautiful. I said, we're there. And so we took off from the hotel and he said, have you ever ridden in the trains of Moscow? I go, no. He goes, you got to do it. You got to see these train stations. They're like Stalin era. They're beautifully built. They're magnificent. And you got to watch the Russian railway system. It's incredible. I said, let's go. I can't wait. So we went to the subway station nearest the hotel, and you take your rubles and you buy these iridescent plastic tokens, and you put them into the machine, and you go through the turnstile, and you get to this escalator that goes like this, straight down to the Earth's very core. And the stairs are about this wide. And so most of your foot is hanging over. It's because the subways were also built as bomb shelters. So you're going about 4 miles down to where like the Earth gets very hot. And you see Satan and all those people down there. And so you standing on this escalator, looking at the top of the man's head in front of you, going, I'm gonna fall. You instinctively grab for the railing thing that goes along with the stairs. And you're used to getting on escalators, right? And you put your hand onto the rubber band that goes next to it, and it's always going a little faster than the stair. You're going like, oh, come on, get it together, It's a big shopping center. It's a huge escalator. Get the fucking stair to go with the same speed as the belt. Put a man on the moon, you can split the atom. You can infect a nation with bad food and bad media, but you can't make the stair go the same way as the belt. Come on. And some of you macho guys, I've tried it a million times and nearly ripped my arm out of the socket. You try and regulate the stair and the band with your vice-like eagle talon grip. You're like, all right, watch this. I'm holding. You lose your arm. And so most of my foot is hanging off this little ledge they've put me on, and the escalator's like this going down to Hades. And I'm like, whoom! I grab the belt, which is this well-worn canvas belt that's going a good 30% faster than the stairs. So if you grab onto like, fuck, I'm gonna fall, it pulls you ahead into like almost, I'm gonna faceplant on the stairs and kill myself. And you can set up this like human domino effect that would like, there's to be dead people in your wake. And so I'm like, and I have to like go diagonally and lower my center of gravity. I'm surfing on this stair. And you see old folks too, like these 119-year-old old women like, trying to make it. I'm like, Nick, what the fuck, man? He goes, you got to be careful, man. You can really hurt yourself on the escalator. So I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Because it makes you use your balance and your common sense. And a lot of things in the West, we have it very good. Like in Europe and America, we have it very good, very safe. Escalators around here go about that steep, and the stairs are this wide, and they go, and the belt only goes a mere 7% faster than the stairs. You're like, oh, come on. You don't even need to hold it. It's so safe. You have so much room to move, And when you go to airports and you get on the moving sidewalk, you approach the moving sidewalk. The ones in America are hilarious. You walk up to the moving sidewalk, which is that band of rubber that moves so you can get on it and make some further progress down to your gate. You get on and you trip an electric eye, which releases a white dude from nowhere soundbite. Hello, you are now approaching the moving sidewalk. Be careful because the sidewalk in front of you is moving, with the implied, you dummy. And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't notice it was moving because I eat McDonald's food and I worship Tom Cruise and I'm kind of stupid and slow and I drink a lot of cough syrup, or at least I act like I'm on something that makes me dumb. Maybe it's just the country I live in. Okay, well, thanks for the warning. I'll get on it. Whoa, really cooking now. About a day and a half later, you've gone 40 feet, and then your body triggers another little soundbite. You are now leaving the moving sidewalk. Be careful because the sidewalk in front of you isn't moving. dummy. You're like, oh, thanks for that, because I couldn't understand that when I get off the moving sidewalk, I'm going to have to kind of, like brace up. Like, oh, hey, whoa, that wasn't so bad. Okay, onto the airplane. If I had my way, the moving sidewalk would go at about 50 miles an hour. And if you had enough intelligence to get through the metal detector, if you could figure out that all the change in your pocket is metal, the cannonball ass plug suppository you have is metal, the plate in your head is metal. If you could figure that out, you Einstein, if you could get through that, you would be able to approach the moving sidewalk, but you would not get the friendly white guy from nowhere greeting. You would get assaulted by a psychotic, no-neck, flat-top, purple in the face with rage, psycho Marine drill sergeant in hot pants. I'd have him in hot pants just to make it that much more intense. Like, whoa! And he'd be all in your face, screaming at you, run, you pussy, get ready to jump! Jump, you pig fucker, jump! And you'd see businessmen running towards the moving sidewalk, Bausch and Lomb spectacles askew, tie over shoulder, arm wildly windmilling with briefcase. Ah! As they're being chased by a psychotic, huge 230-pound man screaming in hot pants, jump, you pussy, jump! And they're like, oh, no. Ah! And he'd see there's the moving sign, like, 40 seconds of heightened suspense later, he's gone like 3 miles. Amazingly, there's another psycho Marine drill sergeant who's running at the same speed as the moving sidewalk. How? Feed him his Wheaties every day, strong. Jump, you pig fucker, jump, you pussy, get ready, brace for impact, you pussy! Oh my God! Sweat's going down his face, the heart rate is accelerated. This is a great cardiovascular workout before you're going to sit on a plane for 5 hours, drink too much coffee, eat bad food, watch shitty videos, and dick around with your laptop. And it would increase people's mental aptitude, their discipline, their focus, and their will to live. Because they have a little taste of danger. Because they tell you, the most dangerous part of your day getting on an airplane is your journey to the airplane. Actually, statistically, you're safer on an airplane than you are in your car on your way to the airport. Well, let's up the odds just a little bit more. Let's make it from the metal detector to the plane. If you don't have your shit together, you're dead! You're dead! That's my kind of evolution. And so people would get to the office from going from A to B, like just hemorrhaging. They'd be like traumatized. What happened? I went to the airport. Oh my God, did the guy you jump, you pussy jump? Yes. But it was kind of cool. I mean, wow. I want to live, man. I want to live. I never thought about it before. I nearly died, but now I want to live. And I think it'd be great. People would like snap out of this coma they seem to be living in all the time. And I would go to shopping centers and take out all the escalators and elevators and make people rappel down. Give them ropes and harnesses. Give them a free tow to the top and let them work their way down. And if they want to get back from sporting goods up to lingerie, they got to work. How bad do you really want those crotchless panties, my dear? And people would get home from a day of shopping like, but in shape with good tensile strength you get from climbing vertical walls. Yeah. Well, I have a lot of ideas like that. And everyone goes, shut up, Henry, shut up, Henry. Like, I had this idea a few weeks ago when the Klan marched in New York. And they called up Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and they said, hey, we are the Klan, and we want to march in your town with our bullshit 900-year-old white power movement. And he went, okay. But you can't wear your silly masks, your bedsheet masks. And they called up the American Civil Liberties Union, who, defends your right to march. And the ACLU said, you've got to let them wear their masks. They have a right to wear their masks. And freedom is a weird concept when the Klan are allowed to march. This hate group that hates people of different colors, they're allowed to march in New York. It is their constitutional right to march, and the American Civil Liberties Union is there to defend them. And I thought it would have been such a great opportunity for Giuliani to be a rock and roll mayor and help the world evolve. Would it be? I wish I was mayor for a week, just for that 1 week. Mayor of New York, Henry Rollins. So cool. We are the Klan. We're finished raping our sisters, and now we want to come and march in New York. Fuck you. Click. The guy would call back, take him 8 minutes to figure out the phone again. God dang it. We're going to get the UC the American Civil Liberties Union, yeah, them, they're going to defend us. Yeah, get them, whatever, call me. Click. Hello, Henry, this is the ACLU. The Klan gets to march in New York, otherwise we're going to take you to court. Yeah, fuck you. Click. And just shut them down. And like, but what about their rights? What about their constitutional rights? Oh, let them stand in the long line of Americans who have no fucking rights, you know? And let's evolve. Let's like get the gills out of our necks and get to the next century where we don't have racism anymore. And we just say no to the Klan. Like, but we want to march. Oh, fuck you, get over it, you know? And so anyway, they expected 300 to 400 Klan members to like descend upon New York and march. 17 showed up. 17, and they're marching. We are the Klan, we hate all kinds of people. And everyone's just kind of watching, whipping batteries at their heads and shit. I mean, it's New York, rough town. It's a rough room. It's good room, but it's a rough room to work. Anyway, the Klan are like, we are the Klan, dee-dee-dee-dee, whatever the Klan song is. I am the grand doodah wizard dragon guy. And like the head dude is like marching along, and they had this great video bite on CNN. This old man is watching, and he like, back in my day, god damn it, and he went into the parade and like took out the main dude, like, bam, and just this old man like dropped this Klan guy, and you're like, whoa, awesome. Now, the New York police force are used to not responding until something of bright colors or something shiny moves. Usually they're like, something bright and shiny moves in the peripheral. They're like bulls, like, sorry, Mom. You know, they just shoot, kill, and then go, oh, fuck. Well, just dump him in the river, and we'll just say, he was a coke dealer. Yeah. And remember a few months ago, they shot the guy for sitting on his front porch. They shot at him 41 times just for sitting on his front porch. Imagine what they could have done to the Klan. But anyway, the cops are just like watching the Klan. Old man, god damn it, wham, lands this one Klan guy. The cops are like, and beat the shit out of the guy. You're like, no, you're getting the wrong guy. The guy's on the ground like he's like, oh, and the Klan guy is getting up and dusting himself off. You're like, no, you dummies. And it would have been so great if the Klan marched and everyone in New York put on a Klan outfit. Or like every gay, black, Haitian, Cuban, and Puerto Rican, like non-white or non-cool sexual orientation to the Klan, put on Klan masks and Klan robes and said, oh, we're in the Klan too. And all of a sudden the 17 Klan members are joined by like 7,000 people who've all customized their Klan outfits. People could dye them pink, put on like all kinds of cool buttons and logos and stuff. And it would turn into a huge street fair. So you have a whole bunch of people like, we are the Klan, woohoo! And the Klan guys would be furious. No, God damn it, we're the real Klan. So are we, so am I, I'm in the Klan too. I'm in the Klan, man, you gotta love me. Like, fuck you, God. Oh, they get so frustrated. And it'd be so great if everywhere they went, everyone in that city would dress up as the Klan. And they'd go, how do you do? You're the Grand Wizard, right on. Well, me too. We're all in the Klan. Nerds. And they just have to stop. That'd be so great. Anyway.